How about a mega Halloween nostalgic video? Keep in mind, this is a compilation video. You may have seen some of these in the past. All the giveaways and contests are closed. Enjoy the video. I'm Brandy, and this is Making It My Own DIYs. The first project is going to be a Halloween cone or a Tussie Mussy. We are going to start off with a couple of things. I've got some tulle that's black. I have some different types of trims in orange. You can see these were just Easter from Dollar Tree. I've got a variety of picks from Dollar Tree. These are like, I guess, cupcake picks. I have some thin tinsel, some ruffly lace trim, a little bit of plastic insects from Dollar Tree. I've got some floral pins, a foam, and this is just a cone, and then I have some fabric. So this cone is going to be about 9 inches long. You can use whatever size you want, and you will cut your beautiful fabric, which mine I got at the thrift store. You will cut that fabric to whatever size you need. Alright, so to determine my sizing, I am going to take that cone, start in the corner of my fabric, and kind of roll this over, making sure that it will go over the end of the cone because that biggest part of the cone is going to be the top. I'm going to cut this off now that I know how much I'm going to need and save the rest of this beautiful fabric for some more projects. Now I'm going to start by putting the pretty side of the fabric down on the table, taking my floral pins. I'm going to twist a little bit and then I'll use those pins to help me hold everything tightly and in place. I don't want any wrinkles. I want this to be very smooth and elegant. So just keep twisting that cone and it will come to a point on the end and it will look like this. You're going to have some excess. I got my pattern lined up the way I like it for the front. The back doesn't really matter because it'll be against the wall or a door. I'm going to start by putting the pins in here. And these pins are going to help hold everything in place until we are ready to glue this down. Hot glue doesn't work so much on foam, so it works a little bit better to use pins until you can do fabric on fabric. And I hope that makes sense to you, just explaining it that way. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in there since my pins are holding it in place for me, and I'll grab my hot glue and just start working up the cone until it is glued down all the way to the top. Just taking my time. And then you can use a spatula, you can use anything that you have, protect your fingers, and you can use that to press those pieces on top of one another. So I'm going to trim this top down. I really only need about 1 inch to overlap. Probably don't even need that much. I could go with less, but I don't want to take a chance of cutting it too short. Because you know I don't do a lot of measuring on my channel. We eyeball things, don't we? Yes, we do. Alright, I'm an impatient crafter. I like to get it done. So, as I said, glue doesn't work so great in foam situations, especially this type of floral foam. But I'm just doing the best I can to get it laid down. I'm going to add some. If you use a cool temp, that's a better option. The glue seems to go through the plastic and it eats into the foam. And then the glue picks off of the foam. So we don't want that. We want everything to stay tightly in place. And with that said, I'm going to grab some more of these pins and I'll be securing the top. The glue is dry on the sides now. We can take those out. And we have the base of our beautiful cone. And this is the back. You can see where the seam is here. These are some little beaded necklaces that you can get from Dollar Tree or anywhere, really. These came out of a treat pack for Halloween last year. So I'm going to use these as my hanger. Now, you can do a hanger that goes across equally on both sides, rather like if you had a basket and you have the handle going across the center. But I like to hang mine from the doors, and to do it that way, I like to just put the hanger on the back. And that also will keep me from having to worry about the hanger hitting the items that I put on top, because this cone is going to be very full, very full. And I want to make sure I have plenty of hanger on there to get it secured to whatever, wall or door I want to put it on. Alright, so I'm going to let that glue dry. I kind of put it under the pen and then put glue on top, and this is not going to come out now. Then I'm going to start decorating. This is the fun part, y'all. And I've made Tussie Mussies before a few times on my channel, but generally it's paper or tissue paper that, I would use for something like that. But this fabric was just screaming to me that this needed to be done with it. Very circusy, vintagey. I just love this. A little harlequin. Yes. So I'm going to grab some trims. I've got some of this black lace trim. I'm going to take some of the pom-pom trim and cut it down so that we can make almost like a collar on the top. We're going to decorate that top. Protect those fingers. And then we're going to glue those in place. And now that we're putting it on fabric, we can use the hot glue. We don't have to use the pins necessarily. So I'll take that trim and take that edge almost all the way to the top. Not completely, but almost. I want to be sure that it has plenty of grip onto the fabric that I have on the base of this cone. So we'll go all the way around here, putting down this beautiful black trim. Now this lacy looking trim came from the thrift store, and I got a huge wad of it, I guess. I don't know another word for it, but it was just all over the table at Goodwill, and I just kind of spooled it up around my hand. I knew I had to have it, and I've had it for a few years and use it in my vintage and in regular Halloween. I just love it. But you can find it, probably at any craft store, some type of a lace trim that you like to use. I like the fact that it is a trim that already curves because it goes around the cone really nicely. So I'm going to be layering here, and I'll put that little pom-pom garland all the way up to the edge where it overlaps on the lace and kind of seals off our edge. And then we're going to take some of the tinsel. I pulled this tinsel off of a pumpkin from Dollar Tree last year or the year before because I used the base for another project. If I can remember which project that was, I will try to put that in the description box so you can see it. But I have loads and loads of Halloween playlists and videos for you to watch if you want to watch more, and I will put something at the end of the video as well for you. Okay, so we're just going to go round and round and round until this is all over. The pins work best for this because it's hard to glue the tinsel down because the plasticky parts keep melting. But you do it whatever way is easiest for you. Now I'm going to take some more trim, and this happens to be the same width as the little pom-pom ribbon or trim, so I'm going to use this here, and it is in our orange colors and in black, and I like that. It's not an exact match, but that is not a concern of mine. Alright, so I've got some stir sticks, and I have got a headband that is a cute little witch hat, and I thought, hey, we're going to use this. So you just pull the bottom little panel off and pull the headband part off, and y'all can get these little things just about anywhere. I know you can. I see them all the time. You could probably get them at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to go around with the hot glue and seal my bottom back off. This is how it is going to look on the cone. I'm going to take a little leftover stick from some floral. This is just a little wire from florals that I had cut off. I'm going to take a slice in the middle, fill it up with some glue, and then put that in there and give it a couple of minutes to stiffen and dry. I'm putting it slightly off center so that it'll be a little bit crooked. I'm going to add a little spider ring. I cut the ring part off and I put that on the top. And I'll take my stir sticks, cut that at a slant on the bottom with my cutters. Now we're going to make some little signs to go down on the inside of the cone as well. I will link this. This is from Amazon. This is a big package of these prints in a bunch of different sizes. And I am going to be using them a lot. So if you like them, go and grab them, and we will be crafting these things together. But you can print anything off the computer that you have. You can use a Halloween card and cut pictures off. You can use magazine pieces, scrapbook paper, whatever you want to use for this. I thought these signs would be gorgeous in here, and I will let you decide if I achieved that. So I'm just going to put them on some foam board to make them thicker. And I use my glue stick, and the purple will fade when it is dry. It's just a school glue stick. And I'm going to cut the foam off and make these into little squares. Alright, so now I can decide where we want to put the hat. I'm going to put it off the side here. just like this. And I am loving this already. I'm taking an acrylic marker, but you can use paint, whatever you want. And I'm just covering over the pick part of these little cuties so they kind of go into the background. That I have bats and pumpkins. These are some little vintage looking pumpkins and a cupcake topper that I got at the thrift store. And I'm going to add those in. You know, with the vintage things, they have lots of little goodies going on in the top, and it just looks so festive and happy and exciting for Halloween. That's what I'm trying to achieve here. I added my little picks in, then I'm going to add the ghost in, and he's kind of sitting amongst the things, keeping in mind where the back is while I'm putting everything in. I'm going to add a little pumpkin here because he looks very vintage to me, and he could be. I found a bunch of these. And I'm going to glue the hat down just to kind of keep it to that side angle. I'll take another one of those stir sticks, cut it at a slant, and add it to the back. This is just a little pom-pom on a stick that I have here, and you can see the downward spiral that I have. It looks really cute to me, y'all. Now let's add the piece de resistance. We're going to take the picks off the bottom, and we're going to be using those in these little photos that we have. Now I'm only going to use 2 of these. I decided just to use 2. And I'm going to take the pokey side and push into that foam. If it comes out the back, don't worry about it. Just reposition it, but try not to destroy your picture when you do it. See, I'm going at a downward angle. We're going to do both of those that way. And then just for a little more interest and decoration, we're going to add trim to these. Protect those fingers, y'all, because we're going to be working really close to the edge with some really small, thin pieces. And you will burn yourself really quickly with this. So I'm trying to push this to the outer edge, and I did leave that white border so I would have a little something for this to cling to. Once I press this down, I'm going to take this cute little trim or ribbon, and I'm going to go all the way to the edge and then flip it over on itself like that, and using the wrong finger. Y'all see that, don't you? I do it all the time. I do it all the time. We're going to continue around, fold it, just fold it over on itself, and press it down into the glue. And this is going to give it a little trim for the top. We'll add a little pom-pom down here on the bottom, excuse my head. And I have just enough for 3 in that section to go across, and I'll cut it off. I love the look of this. It reminds me of those the little toys where you would twist them back and forth and it sounded like a drum. I love those. I might even make one of those for Halloween, y'all. I might do that. I'll take some of this trim, very gently push this down into there. I'm trying to pull it as far to the outside so it doesn't obscure our picture. And then I'm going to go around the sides with the trim here, all the way around until we have this cute little tinsel all the way around it. If there's any bare spots, just go in there and add another little piece. Not a big deal. Think of all the things you could use to trim out your pictures. So many options. So then I'll take those picks and place those down into the cone as well. I want to make sure that everything can be seen. So I'm looking at it from a bunch of different angles. And then I'm going to go right through the hat and into it right here with this picture. Love that. Love it. Okay, I am going to make a bow because you know that's what I do, right? So I'm going to take some of this tulle, and this came from Dollar Tree. I'm going to fold it over several times. And then the folds are going to be about 6 inches, it looks like. You don't have to be precise because this is just a little bow that we're going to make. I'm going to fold it over, I think, about 6 times. The more you put, the thicker the bow will be, and the more opaque it will be. If you use less folds, you'll be able to see through your fabric a bit more. But I like that it is, you can really see the spider webs on it. I like that. I'm going to scrunch this up with the folded edges to the outside. It is going to make a little bow like this. I'll take a little piece of ribbon that I have, and this is just some vintage sort of like velvet. Look at all that fallout, y'all. Ugh. Mr. Skeleton says he loves you. And thank you for watching our videos. We got so many good ideas this year. All right, I'm going to slice through the outside of the bow to make all these little pieces stand out independently. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, if you're worried about flat ends, You can always pull these out and fluff them out more, and you can take your scissors and cut into the outsides of them and kind of make them look a little more rough, if that makes sense to you. So now I'm just going to take that tool, I'm going to put it at an angle and add it right here on the, like the front side of this beautiful little cone. Press it right there. And I always like to take the opportunity to look at every bit of it closely to see if there are any more details that I want to add. And of course, I'm going to cut off some of these pom-poms and just put those right there on the corners of the ribbon trimmed picture. Absolutely love these pictures. They are vintage. I cannot say enough, and I'm going to be doing so many projects. You'll probably get sick of seeing them. Okay, so of course we're going to make a little something extra. We're going to have a little bow tassel or something like that to go off the bottom. I am going to cut this tulle into ribbons. How about that? I love it. I love the glitter on it. I'm going to add just a stack of ribbons here that I like. I'm going to add some of that tinsel to it as well. Y'all, please don't ever stop trying, and I always encourage you to make it your own. Okay, so I'm going to take those ribbons and I'm going to cut that little stack in half. You can always start off by cutting into smaller pieces if you want to, but this is about 6 or 7 inches. I'll grab those in the middle, and then I'll take some more of that ribbon and I'm going to tie that off. Feel free to use jute if you want to. I'm just trying to stick to more of what you would see in vintage Halloween, and it would have been the ribbon, I think. Okay, that beautiful velvet ribbon. Okay, so now I'm pulling this down, holding it tightly. Then I'm going to take another piece of ribbon and I'm going to tie this around about 1 inch from the top. We're going to make this into a tassel. So not a bow this time, but a tassel. I'm going to press it down in there, make sure everything's laying nice and flat, and then I'll tie it. I'll tie a double knot, and then I'll just wrap it back and forth around till I have just a tiny bit of ribbon left. That's going to lock it all in there and really give it that look of a tassel. Now I want to trim my ends so it's all even, and I'm going to cut about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch off the bottom because I know how big I want the tassel to be. Sometimes when you're making a tassel, you can't really gauge it until you get it in your hand. And I'm going to tie it here on the end. So the top of the cone is flat, right? And you have a little bit of excess of fabric that won't have any cone on it. It won't have any of that foam to support it. And that's where I wanted to put my tassel. And it ties on nicely there, and it looks like it was intended to be this way. Simple, simple. I'm just going to tie that on. You can tie it into a bow. You can tie it into double knots, trim it off. You can just leave that ribbon on there if you want to. Isn't that cute? Oh, I hope y'all love this as much as I do. I am absolutely adoring this cone. Yes, and you can do it. You can definitely do it. The icing on the cake is going to be one more pick right in the bottom. A little bat. Perfect. And there it is in its beautiful vintage glory. Y'all come and cruise with us. It's going to be February the 24th or the 29th, 2024. I'm going to have the information in the description box below. Next, we're making a treat box. We are going to start off with a little round box from Dollar Tree. We're going to need the top and the bottom for this project. We're going to take a variety of ribbons, whatever type you like. Got some Dollar Tree, got some thrifted, and we're going to take a variety of trims. Look at this yellow trim. We're going to take some white paint and a brush, and any panel of fabric that you like, and a vintage toy to go on top. Look at this little squeaker toy. I probably had this when I was a kid. And I'm also going to use some of my double stick tape. So we're going to start by painting this box white. We're going to paint it white because we want the white fabric that we're going to be putting on top of it to really pop against the white paint. And it will look a little bit darker, a little more dingy if we put it against the brown box. So just go over the top, the bottom, and let it dry. Next, we're going to lay our box down. We're going to cut out a strip of fabric that is enough to go over the sides all the way around and enough to tuck into the top. So you'll put some glue on it. You're going to line your bottom up with the bottom edge of your fabric, and then you'll just go ahead and firmly roll this over until you get back to the starting point. Add some hot glue, and then glue that in place. No need to add glue anywhere else on there. That's going to hold it fine. I'm going to trim up my bottom because, you know, when you cut, you don't always cut a straight line. This fabric came from dirt cheap in a package of Amazon return stuff. So it's a package and it's got a whole bunch of different fabrics in it. You use whatever you can find, and I know Dollar Tree is probably going to have some fantastic pieces. I just thought this looked a little kind of like, you know, youthful and a little bit like vintage to me, or like what in my head what it would look like. Very fun, very simple and fun. So I'm going to go to the top of the box, and I just used the bottom of the box to hold the lid while I put the glue on here and put this in place. Once I get that pom-pom rim all the way around, it's going to look like this. Very cute. And then we're going to start layering just like we did the other one. But I'm going to be layering this beautiful purple ribbon right over the top. This glitter ribbon came from Dollar Tree. Love it. Then on top of that, we're going to add some trim, whatever type of trim you have. You could even take something off an old dress if you wanted to. This came from a friend who donated a bunch of craft supplies to me. Okay, so and then we're going to go to the bottom. We're going to let everything dry on the top while we work on the bottom. So this is the bottom edge, and we're going to trim this out with some more of that glittery ribbon. It's going to match and make everything look, you know, nice and look good together. Then I'll take some of this ribbon, and I'm going to go around it right in the middle. And then we're going to start on the top of the box. Now, this time we're only using glue. We can't use those floral pins. So this time you're going to want to use cool temp glue or some other type of glue, whatever you have, and start gluing this down. The difference is with cool temp glue, you can get, it dries fast. You'll have to add a little more time for your projects if you use any other type of a glue in a bottle maybe. So unless you use super glue, of course. All right, so I'm going to go around almost like a cinnamon roll. We're going to go round and round and round, getting smaller and smaller until we are on the inside. I'm going to leave an open spot on the inside for that double stick tape so that we can stick down that little dog. I'll then grab my nano tape, cut off a piece about the size of that little square down there that we have left, put that down slightly to the back, and the back is going to be where the seams meet, so keep that in mind. Keep all your seams in one area. And then he will stick down. Look at that. No damage, so that he can be used in other projects if I wanted to. The easiest way to get the box together at this point is to push your pom-poms down and do it upside down. If you try to do it the other way, the pom-poms are going to try to go into the box and you won't be able to get the lid on. But it will fit. I got some pumpkins from Dollar Tree last year, and they are purple and glittery. So to bring that purple in that's in the fabric, and in some of our ribbon, I'm going to take some of those pick tops and just glue those down together, make a little stack there, and we're going to put it right to the side of the little dog. Hold it in place, and don't hesitate to let it sort of hang off the edge and spill over. You can certainly do that. I've seen that in a lot of projects. Just, you know, fill it up. Just fill it up to the top. I'll use a Dollar Tree witch hat to go on the side of the little dog. Look how cute so far, y'all. You could stop at that point if you wanted, but we're going to keep on because you know I'm going to keep on. You know this about me by now, right? I'm going to keep on. We're going to cut down some pieces of ribbon, and we're going to make a little embellishment for his hat. So take whatever colors you like, and I'm just going with the colors that coordinate with everything else going on in this project. And a piece of ribbon I'm going to tie around the middle. The ribbon pieces right now are at about 5 inches. I'm going to cut them down. I'm going to cut about an inch off of each side, so we have about 3 inches across. Fluff it out as much as you can, and then I'm going to glue it right on top of that hat. Look at her fancy hat. She's going to a Halloween party in that hat. Okay, so we got some little goodies that we can add here and there. I'm going to add this little bat, and it's actually a wooden sticker from Dollar Tree, but I'm going to use it for something else, just to make a little piece of decor. And we're going to give this cute little dog a collar. So I'll take that same trim. It is stretchy. I'm trying not to stretch it out though. And I'm going to tuck it here and there so that it looks as though it is going around her neck. I will glue it onto itself and onto the back of the box very simply, and then trim off any excess. The glue's not going to stick to that dog, so be sure you put it on the box. Ooh, look how precious. Alright, so now I'm going to add a little orange spider right over here. I'll grab up some tulle and make a little puff for the top of her hat. We could do a pom-pom if you wanted to do a pom-pom up there, or you could leave it just like it is. But I've found with these vintage crafts, it's almost overdone to the point where some people, you know, they do call it tacky. I just say it's busy because I like it. Tacky seems to have a very bad connotation, and I think that it's in the eye of the beholder, right? So I think that in this situation, tacky is called for. So I'm going to split the top of that little pom-pom thingy, and we're going to stick it right down on top of her hat. A little bit of hot glue. I'm going to do the same thing with this piece, only this is going to be a little backing, a little extra little puff on the side. This would have been really cute if I would have had orange or purple, but I didn't. I had black, so we're going to go with it. There's plenty of black in this project to make it make sense. How cute is that? Can you imagine the things you could put down in that cute little box? What would you put in a little treat box like this? Candy? And next are a set of 4 box ornaments. Okay, so I've got some little jewelry boxes here. We're just take them apart, and we're going to be using the lids for both. Here's a little quick measurement to give you an idea, and the bottoms for both. This is going to make 4 ornaments, y'all. We're going to take a variety of little miniatures that you can use in your project. We're going to use some trims, some laces, and we're going to go back to our stack of these pictures that I got. Look at these things, y'all. They are so good. It's really hard to choose which ones to use here. But I did, in the end, pick 4 that I thought would look nice. I'm just going to cut those off. And then I'll be trimming them down enough that they will fit right onto the inside of the boxes. I'm going to use that glue stick again to go all over the bottom and then place those pictures in. I'm not concerned about the white edge on here. You could cut it off if you wanted to, but I'm not concerned because I'm going to be covering that up. So press it down with your fingers and then grab something narrow that you can flatten it out with to make sure it's going to cling nicely to the glue. You don't want anything to peel out. And this little Cricut tool makes it easy. Cute! Here are the 4 boxes before they are embellished. I'm going to take a little bit of pom-pom trim for this the first box. I'll be gluing it right on the sides so that it is hanging across the front. It's almost making a little awning. So I want to know, do y'all do a Halloween tree? Have you ever done a Halloween tree? I'm considering doing one this year to put all the ornaments I'm making on. What do y'all think about that? Is that something that you would like to see? I would really like to do it if you want to see it. Okay, so we're going to go along, and I have some fur trim here. And I've had this since last year, and I'm going to add that in the bottom. I'm just smearing around that glue. I'm not putting a whole lot, but I'm smearing it around so I can glue it in there. I'll be adding a bat, and it's just a bat sticker. I'll have a little miniature cat ornament. I'm going to add her down there. We're going to make a hanger, and I'm just going to use a little bit of trim with a dot of glue right in the center sides of the box. Give it enough to hang with. You can put it on a branch or whatever you want to put it on. You could leave it like this, or you can add a little more. And you know I'm going to add a little more. I'm going to add a little head, and this little skull came from a 2-pack, I think, of Dollar Tree necklaces. And you can see how these bones are still stuck together, and I'm going to use them as is. They fit perfectly across the top with a little hot glue. And that would complete this one. Really cute. Okay, so the next one, we're going to trim that out on the inside with some of that glittery orange ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'll place that down. And I'm trying to get it as close as I can to the picture in the inside of the box. Now, for those of you who do not have very good dexterity, or you have problems with your hands, or you have arthritis, or your vision is bad and you can't see down to do the detailed work like this, just use paint instead. Use paint or decoupage with some glitter. You can do those things. You can use a marker. However you want to embellish yours, make it your own. You do not have to do the little fussy stuff, you know? But that really does, in my opinion, make the project when it comes to vintage projects, is that all those little details. Okay, I'm going to press this down, and I'm just using the end of one of those stir sticks to push that down into the glue. And I have trimmed it out there. Now you can't see the back. This pumpkin is too wide, but because it's that soft moldable plastic, I can push the back in so that it will fit inside of the frame. Look! Ah! I love it. So then I am, yes, I'm going to take some little branches here, and these are just things I've had for a while, not sure where they came from. You can just use little pieces, little bits and bobs. If you have anything black or brown, whatever color that coordinates, I'm going to glue them to the sides of the box, put the pumpkin in, and add a little glittery eucalyptus. Look at that picture. A little pumpkin head and an owl. And we're going to add a hanger here. You can do the same type hanger to all your projects if you want. Okay, this one I am going to trim out with a little bit of that same furry looking trim. You could use tinsel here if that's what you have. I'll add some glue and then press this down in there. And we'll go all the way around the box and the bottom and then fluff it all out. Make it stand out, look nice and fluffy. Okay? So I've got just some satin ribbon here from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use that to trim out the inside of this box. You can really change these things up. You can use any type of ribbon you like. You can use any type of trim, and it's going to make your project look unique. It's going to make it look different than everybody else's. But that's what you want, right? Isn't that what brings you joy? Your own creations. So I've trimmed it out with some thin ribbon in the bottom part. I'm going to add some Mod Podge to this pick, this orange pick, with a paintbrush. And then I am going to douse it in glitter. I mean, why not? It's Halloween, right? So I'm going to take, this is just some fingernail glitter, actually. And I'm going to put it down in there in the front and pat it down there on the back. Tap a little more into the sides. You can take your finger and apply that on there if you want to. And this is how it's going to look. Let it dry. I'm going to cut it off with a pick. And we're going to use him for an ornament on here. Yes. So I'm just going to decide where I want to put it, and since the witch is off to that side, we're going to put him over here on this side. I think it's going to make it a little more balanced this way. And there's a ghost in the top holding a pumpkin, so we're going to put this little ghost on the bottom. I'm going to add a little top from a bat pick that I got at Dollar Tree. Because there's a bat in the picture, it's going to give it a little more dimension. And then we are going to make a hanger for this one. This hanger is going to be a little bit different. We're going to flip it over and do it on the back. Be sure if you use these ornaments where they can be seen from the back that you paint the back or cover them with some type of paper. Yes, I like it. Okay, so now we're going to use some scrapbook paper to trim the inside. I'm going to get my measurement for the inside of the box. I'm going to cut a strip, and look how pretty this is. Thanks again, Marcia, for the donation of all the paper pads. Love them. I'm going to press this on the inside of the box. I'm going to crease it a little bit with my fingernails when I get it in there. Just kind of push it into the corners. You can push it with a tool if you want to. This is just to kind of give me the inside frame of the box. So I know where to crease it. I'm going to pull it out and fold on all those creases to give me some good corners. I'm going to use double stick tape and put on each of the straight pieces and then place it back down inside of the box. I'm going to push it to the box. So I'm pressing that paper straight to the box. It's going to hold it in place. You can use hot glue here if you want to. Keeping in mind that with hot glue you risk burning yourself, so use your finger protectors. And then we're going to trim this out, and it's going to cover up where our paper frame meets the inside of the box. I'm going to use a little bit of vintage, this is like a velvety velour type ribbon, and I'm going to use it on the sides first, and then we're going to box it in on the top and the bottom. I'm going to use a little longer than I have to so I don't burn my fingers, and I'll be trimming off any excess. I'm going to take some regular glue. I want to give you lots of options here, and go in with that same ribbon trim and place this down. Now you have to allow dry time with these things too, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to do the top and the bottom, and then we'll use the same hanger as we had used before on the sides. Now I want to make a little, almost like an awning on the top with a beaded necklace. So I'm going to start in one corner. I've cut off a length of this. I'm going to press that down until the glue sets. I'll go to the other corner, press that one down, take the edge there, press that bead down. I'm sorry, I'm out of the camera there. And then I'll flip it over with a dot of glue right in the center, grab my little pick and push it up so it looks like it has, you know, it's kind of strung across the top. And I love that. Then I'm going to make a bow. I'll grab a Dollar Tree ornament that is orange, and it is just some of those Halloween ornaments that they put out in the 12 packs. I'm going to use that almost like a pumpkin. I'm leaving the little hanger on the top because I just felt like I needed to add it there. And I'll add some hot glue and press this down. I'm going to smear around some glue on the bottom and add some of this. Stuff's like you put this stuff in packages, right? When you're making gifts and things. That's what this is. And you can find it at Dollar Tree in the gift section. Or the gift wrap section, rather. So I'm using this in black to make the bottom, and it's nestled down in there. And it is so cute and unique. So I'm going to add a little something extra, and I thought, for some reason, I thought skull and crossbones. So I cut 2 of the little bones off, put them in an X in the corner, and then I cut one of the little skulls off, and I'm going to add it right in the top. And hey, the good thing about Halloween ornaments and decorations is if you get glue webs, fine. Leave them there because they look spooky, don't they? They look webby and spidery and spooky, and we can leave them. Now on the bottom, I decided to do almost like a little border. So I'm going to add a couple of little bones here, and then we'll put one more little skull down there. And I use the orange so that it will contrast with the black. Okay, we're going to go back to that witch and add a little something to her. I'm taking a little bit of this orange jute, I guess, because I didn't have a very thin orange ribbon. And where she had that little scarf or stash, I'm just going to make it a little bigger for dimension and add a rhinestone to it. Y'all look at these 4 ornaments. I hope that you try to make one of these 4 ornaments. I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel if you've seen something that you enjoy. We're all about budget-friendly DIYs with a little uniqueness on this channel. I love Halloween, I love fall, I love the time of year when you can get out the oranges and the rich colors and the coziness, and I love vintage, and you're going to be seeing that all through the rest of this year. So I hope that you enjoy these projects that I have made today. I'd really love for you to give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. That helps me know what type of content that you want to watch so I can make more for you. Right now I have these ornaments just hung off of a regular little branch that I have, just so that you can see what they look like until I decide if we're going. As always, I encourage you to make it your own. If you don't like something that I did, that's totally fine. Change it up. Make it into something that you really enjoy and that you really like. Subscriber Appreciation Month is coming in November, so be sure that you hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. You don't want to miss your chance. We have good giveaways here. The first project is going to be a block sitter. I've got a little bit of felt that I'm going to be using. I have some of these little beaded picks from Dollar Tree. This is a little pumpkin that came off a string of lights. Some big buttons that I thrifted. Some little bows. These were actually in Christmas stuff. And a cupcake paper. These are just the little liners, and you know, any style you like. I like this print. And my beautiful little Temu ornaments. I love getting these from Temu. Look at all these precious children, ready for trick and treats. And then this gives you an idea of what they all look like. I've got some little ornaments and some of this foam table scatter we can use. And these blocks that I thrifted. So we can do treats, we can do trick, or we can do tricks. And I just thought, let's do tricks because they're little kids, right? It'll be fun. So I'm going to use my sponge brush. I've got some Kelly green paint because it's almost the same color as his little trousers. Some black chalk paint, and I'm also going to use some white. I want to get these blocks to be a little more on the Halloween coloration side. But you know, Halloween has lots of different fun colors, so you could leave your blocks alone. You could also just buy wooden blocks and maybe just stamp or use stickers to put the letters on. That would make it really easy for you. I like the size of these and the weight of them, so I think they're going to work great for this. I'm just pouncing on, I think I put 2 layers on of each one on each one of these blocks. Yeah, let it dry in between. Now you can see here I'm making a mess. It's fairly shallow, and there's some wood that is in between that square on the outside and the letter on the inside. So that has to be cleaned up, but I'll give you a couple of options when we get to that point. So just stay tuned for that. We're going to get it cleaned up. You know, we won't leave it looking too silly. And then I've got some black here that I'm going to dot on. And I really make a mess with this one because I was kind of rushing through this. You know how it is. Kids are hungry. You got to go fix something. It's summertime, y'all. It's summertime. So I'm just going to dot this on just like I did the other ones and make sure that I got my square and my letter the same color. This is like a sanding tool or a sanding pick that I got from Temu. So if you needed to, you could use a little sanding tool here to get that cleaned up. You could use an emery board to clean it up. You could use, there's just a bunch of ways you could take that paint off. You could use fingernail polish remover, possibly. You know, whichever trick you like, you go ahead and do. But since I had a paint color that was very, very similar to the wood already on the block, I just decided to make my life a little easier. Put on my spectacles, take a small brush, and just get on in there. And this, because the color is so similar, it's just almost going to erase it. So I'll start off closest to the letter and kind of pull the color away from it so that I don't have it messy anywhere. And then I'll spread the paint out a little bit, and instead of just going over where the black is, I'll color the entire inside of that block so it's exactly the same color. Again, you don't have to do this if you don't have this type of block that you're using, but I want to let you know in case you do. This is the process that I used. Real quick, I want to say thank you for stopping by and visiting my channel, whatever brought you here. If you came because I popped up in your recommendations or somebody shared my video or mentioned me in a video, I appreciate your time and that you're here with me today. And yes, it is summertime and I am doing Halloween because it's Juneween, right? Yeah, June's almost over and I'm loving it. Plus, on my community post, everybody voted for Halloween and fall, so we'll be going straight into that as well. Now that all these are dry and my perfect colors that I like, for my choice of course, use what you like to make it your own. I'm going to go ahead and use some glue and then some hot glue to put these pieces together. I used a little bit too much of that other glue. Why the name of it is escaping my brain right now. I'm just going to clean that up because you can clean it with water. So I'll clean it up with a Q-tip and then use a damp baby wipe to just clean that off. Then I'll add a little bit more, this time of course trying to use a little bit less. And I'll use some more glue here. You can always just use hot glue if that's your preference, or you can use super glue, or you can use wood glue, whatever you want to use. If you are ready for fall and Halloween, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because you don't want to miss anything that's coming so much vintage Halloween on this channel, and dark and moody. Oh, there's so much. I've got so many ideas, y'all. I don't want you to miss anything. Once they're glued together, I'm going to use felt on my top and on the bottom, but you could always just go over it with a coat of black paint, or, you know, really any color paint that you like. Probably dark would be best if you're using these blocks, because that's almost like it's cut into the blocks. It's like engraved, the little figures are. So, you know, if you use something light, you're probably still going to see it. But the felt gives me a great surface to glue onto, because we're going to do some pretty things on the top. We're going to put things on here, and I want to be sure that everything sticks and nothing pops off. You never know when you pick something up to dust it off or to move it, if you bump it and then it knocks everything loose. You don't want that to happen. I've simply cut a strip down for the top, and of course we'll do the bottom as well. A little bit of glue, and then I'll put a little glue on the end and lay it flat. Kind of tug it just a little bit to make sure it's nice and flat, and then trim off any of the excess. Because it's that felt fabric, it will stretch a little bit when you pull it, so I'm just going to trim that down, make it nice and neat. And I really like the look of that, very much. Okay, here we are doing the other side, same process. And then once it's ready, this is how it's going to look so far. Don't worry, you can paint the back completely black. I'm going to do the ends in black as well. Very, very easy to do. You could use a marker for this if you want, or you can continue your felt all the way around and patch it together. There's so many ways to do things, right? It doesn't mean because I do it this way that I do it wrong if you do it differently. This is just my way to do it. Then we're going to make sure that everything is dry. Now, these little trees come from Dollar Tree. They're little Halloween trees. I am going to just cut these pieces off. And y'all, these products that you see me using today on this video, they are things that I have had for a while. Now, not the stuff from Temu, but the stuff from Dollar Tree is from last year, okay? So I have this little LED light. It's got kind of a white light. You twist it on and off, and they actually float, so you could use them like in water for whatever reason you would want to do that. I'm going to paint it with my orange or my pumpkin chalk paint, and I'm also going to paint this pumpkin with the orange too, because it just looks very plasticky, and it's not going to fit into that aged look that I'm going for. You have to have a pumpkin that's going to open so you can put your candle on the inside, right? Okay, so I'm going to go over this with 2 coats of paint. This is not going to glue the seams together. It just made it easier for me to paint this way. It won't glue the sides together. It's going to pop off fine. We'll let this dry, and I want my white light to be a warmer color. So all you have to do is take a yellow paint that you like. This one, I believe, is Dandelion, I think is the name of it. Or Daffodil, something like that. It's a slightly warm yellow. So I'm using that as the flame for my candle, and there was already a little bit of orange. I put these little blocks on the back, which I painted green, and this is going to be our supports so that they will stand. These are the 3 little ornaments that I've chosen. I know that I want the boy and girl together to be at a party, and I like the idea of a trick-or-treaters being out together and, you know, looking and searching for their goodies. So I'm going to make this pick, which I have just twisted together, and I'll show you in a minute how to do that, to make it look like he's got balloons. Yeah. Okay, so here's our pumpkin, and I did add brown on the top. And it's completely the look that I was going for. The light is going to be a great warm light. Look at that. Look at that. I love it. Hi, kitty. So nutmeg brown is what I used on the top, 2 coats of that, and I let that dry. I'm going to use my antiquing wax and a small brush, and this is not a stenciling brush, but it's pretty coarse, so that I can push the wax down in all the depressed areas, so all the little nooks and crannies. See that? Don't worry, you're going to see it be a little bit heavy in the beginning, but it gets blended out, so don't worry about that. So if you do that and you get kind of a mess on there, just keep working with it, keep blending it, and you're going to get a good look. So this is easy to do. You could possibly do this with a baby wipe if you wanted to do it with a baby wipe. But the idea is not to make an even stripe. It's to make shadows and depressions to make it stand out. And like I said, give it more of an aged look. You could also use like a satin color paint, but I've found that chalk paint really sticks well to a plastic surface. Now I'm rounding the bottoms. You see how I'm kind of bringing it over on the bottoms to make each of these little bumps on the pumpkin stand out and look rounded. And look at him. He looks like he's been cut and sitting on the porch a while, doesn't he? I got my little sponge finger dauber here, and I'm going to go around the edge of my ornaments. So if you prefer not to shop with Temu, you could probably find something like this on Amazon, or you can get the little ornaments at Dollar Tree in the packs of several and just use a marker and draw your own things on there, or you could decoupage on them to make your own little pictures, right? Definitely. So I'm just going around the edges of it where it's got a little more of a lighter color to give it a little more shading, because we have that on our pumpkin too. And for me, I like to be consistent. I'm not painting the inside because the shininess on the inside is going to help reflect the light that we put in there, and it's going to make it glow so much better. All right, I'll peel the backing off. This is just a little twist light, easy enough to do. And then it'll sit on the ridges on the bottom. All right, now we get to play around and put these in the position that we like. Put my trick-or-treaters on one side and my little party goers on the other side. You know, play around with it before you actually put the glue. Now I've got them looking toward each other like they're, you know, walking down the road together, and they're talking and having a good time. Nobody's saying, I got a rock. Y'all know where that's from, don't you? Who got the rock? Do y'all remember who got the rock? Okay, now we're going to stand these up together. They're out, and perhaps they're siblings or best friends, and they're having a good time together. Walking on to the next spooky house for a treat. Then we'll put our little party goers over here on this side. And we're really creating two different sceneries on the little piece here. Now I'm trying to basically line the pumpkin up so that it's far enough back that I can still put the front on, and that it's kind of in between the I and the C, since that's the middle of the word. Just my preference, y'all. And you can take the top off, put the light on, it's just easy. Now here are the pieces that we cut off of that tree. I'm just going to make another tree, but I'm going to do it smaller. Now we won't use all of it on the tree. I'm just going to pick a few and just make a couple of little sparse branches, so it kind of looks like the kids are walking outside. You could use maybe one of those little Halloween trees, the bottle brush trees that you get from Walmart. That would be very cute. But I don't have my Halloween decorations out yet, so I'm trying to use what I do have pulled out. And I can show you that you got options when you're making things for your crafts, right? When you're making your little fun creations. Now I have a tree. It's not too big. It's not going to be too heavy so that it will stand up. And I know that I want it to go back here. And another great point of having those blocks behind those little fellas is that it's going to give you a little more support. You can glue on the bottom and on the side to help hold it in place. Then you can also add touches of glue behind the ornaments to hold the tree up if you have a problem with your tree. So I fanned out my paper. I'm going to fold it just a little, probably a fourth of it I've folded upward, and make a little curved area. This is going to be the dance floor where our little sweet couple over there are at the party. Since I have some more of this branch, I'm going to use that as the base of this to help keep its form and to have something to glue it down onto the felt. little bit of glue. And these papers are waxed, so when you use a waxed paper, you really need a little something else to help hold your project because, you know, the wax will have a tendency to repel the glue, and you might have things popping off, and you don't want that. So I am going to be putting the glue on the little branch part instead to hold it in place. And then you can grab some more blocks, and you can use the blocks in any place you need support as well. So far, this is what we have. We're going to keep going, of course. Now, of course, you got to have balloons, right? You've got to have balloons at a Halloween party. So, just like when you see, I think when you think about prom and they have balloons on the floor and they fall from the ceiling, well, here are some balloons that have fallen from the ceiling down with our little party goers, and they're having so much fun. And I've just used the little mini ornaments that I like. And then I thought, okay, well, let's do some more green here. So I've got a branch that, or a stem, where I had some florals that I cut off, and I saved these because they're really good for other purposes. I'm going to start off by just adding 3, 2 green and 1 black. And you can get little ornaments at Dollar Tree too, but I get so much of it when I'm thrifting because people just have random amounts and they throw them in there, and I just pick them up. They don't cost much, you know. I'm just going to use my side cutting pliers here to just bend that up so it gives it a little foot that's easier to glue in place. And now I'm going to add an orange little balloon, and I will be adding another one in a moment, but we're going to wrap that all up with some of this just to give it some more oomph, you know, a little more pizzazz. This is a party. It's Halloween. It's a celebration. Everybody's having fun and everybody is in the spooky mood. So I want to make everything fun and attractive and vibrant, right? And I could have just wrapped the entire thing if I wanted to with this, or I could have used it as the base. Either way, it's fine. Adding some glue to the block and beside the block, and placing that little foot that I made right down in there. Now, you don't see me holding it in place as long as I do with each of these pieces, but I do hold them for a while until the glue begins to cool, because when it is cool, it has set up. Somebody made a point to tell me that hot glue doesn't dry, it cools. Whatever. Okay, to each his own, right? So this is how it is looking so far. And I think this is good. I'm satisfied completely with this, and I love it so much, y'all. Look, I turned the little light on so y'all could see the little pumpkin lit up in the middle. Is this not the cutest, most festive little thing? I made something last year with 3 blocks that says boo, and it was so much fun to make. It's definitely different than this, but it is with blocks and some little ornaments. So yeah, these are fun to make for me. I love working with the little miniatures like this. And of course, I hope that you like it too. The next is a treat bag. So here's the little treat bag I was talking about. It's a little metal jack-o'-lantern bag. We're going to use that pumpkin chalk paint, some Spanish moss paint, flowers that I don't actually end up keeping in the final project, some little doohickeys, little decorative anything, pinwheels, whatever you got that's cute and small that would look festive, some more of these little picks. These are just little pieces of wood. You can cut a ruler, whatever you need for yours. Here's some smaller pieces. Here's another ornament we're going to use, and a little bow that we're going to use for him. I'm going to paint all of these pieces orange. Why am I using these? This is because we need a lid to put all of our decor on for our pumpkin, because we're going to have a light in the bottom, so we have to make sure that it's not sitting on top of the light so we can turn it on and off. I'll use my little jewelry pliers here to remove the wire. It is clean, of course, already, but if you get something thrifted, be sure you clean it. I do cut those little berries off later. I'm going to use some of this hunter green for the stem. and then I'll use some rustic orange for the pumpkin. And I'll take them outside and let them dry. So this is what I'm going to do here. This is not necessary if you have something in yours already. But for me, I need to have a little top, something that is a platform between the light section and the decor on the top. So this is how you do that. These were thrifted. You can see they're part of a little, I guess, mathematics set for kids. But you never know when you can use these things, y'all. So now I have the little platform and the little side. I went ahead and used my pliers and cut off the orange and white bow that the cat had on because I want to put a fabric bow. Oh, isn't he going to be cute? I'm going to take the little scissors here and just trim that off smaller. I want those tails to be about the same width as my bow loops, just my preference. You can certainly have one that has tails hanging all the way down if you want. I'm sure a kitty cat would love playing with the little tails hanging down. I'll add just a little glue there and pop that bow on where his collar is. Cute, cute, cute. Where are my black kitty fans? So now this has to be able to stay on the top. These little pieces are going to be the, I don't know if you would call them a cleat or a side support to hold the piece up. I'm using Gorilla Glue here. Super glue would work the best, some type of a long-term hold, but this is going to work for me to show you how to do it. I put the top on so I would know how far to put this down. All this really needs to do is keep the lid from collapsing onto the inside of it. And just like that. It works. You can see there, now I have a top. Doesn't need to fit perfectly, it just needs to be that divider. So I've got another brush, and I am going to pounce on some of that color on top of this darker green. You can leave your ivy dark green if you want to, but I was more along the lines of thinking that I wanted these to be leaves, not ivy. So I'm lightening them up, and I am also going to be giving them some dimension with a little of that orange paint so that they look like fall leaves. You could certainly use, if you have like a little container that you're using, like a little jack-o'-lantern, a little pumpkin, you could get some wine, well, you could do that too while you're crafting. You can get some of that metal line or the, like the wire that you put around it, and then put your own swirly top on yours. You could make something different if you don't have the same thing, because most likely we don't when they're thrifted pieces, right? But y'all know, oh my goodness, y'all are learning so much. So much. I hear so many people say, you know, that they've done it or they've copied a project, but they've done something different with it. And that's the idea. Always make it your own. And look, I'm very thrifty. I know you see me with a lot of projects and a lot of new products all the time, but that's because my channel is a business. I definitely do not expect any of y'all to spend the money on crafting and keep everything you make. That's not what I do. And I don't want you to feel the pressure to have to do that either. Just take something, take what you have, make it your own, right? It's going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect, y'all. Now we need to make some fun pics to go on there. You can add a little bit of something on the back to hold it in place if you need to. I'm just making some things that almost look like suckers because the bag looks like a treat bag. So I'm thinking, okay, well, we'll make some things that kind of resemble candy. Now, once that is dried, you see me going over with another brush. This is a little flat brush, and I'm just going around each of the tips of the leaf, and then I'll just kind of swipe it down the middle. And you can go over the veining if you want to. However you want to do your piece is totally fine. I have not been to Dollar Tree in so long, and I am very excited for them to put out some new Halloween and fall decor. I cannot wait to go and at least just browse, because goodness knows I got plenty of stuff in here right now, but to browse and check everything out, I cannot wait. What about y'all? Or have y'all seen anything in y'all's Dollar Tree stores? I know a lot of the bigger stores definitely have their stuff out, but It's kind of a mixed bag with Dollar Tree in different states, so I'm just wondering if you've seen any out yet. I'd love to know. Now you know me. I've got to age it up. I've got to get that wax and really give it some age. So I'm going around the places where this would rust and just pouncing it on there. This is like a stencil type brush, and it came from Dollar Tree. It sure did. It's been a while now since I got it, but it works good for these types of projects. It's really good for kind of using it for aging. Now once I lay the paint or the wax down, I can blend it out by just flicking that brush back and forth, and that helps kind of fade it, and it takes the sharpness out of it. Gives it a nice aged look. See that? So much better. But we need to be sure that we go around the rest of the face very lightly, very, very lightly. I love it. I love it already. When the layers of paint have dried on the leaves and vines here, I'm going to go over that with a little too, because we want to be consistent. I'm going to cut those berries off because I don't need them for this project. I'm going to add something of my own. Then I'm going to reattach the handle that goes across the top. And I made sure that I didn't glue those little wood tabs in the way of those holes. They should be under there instead of on top. Underneath, so nothing's in the way. And then just to show you that everything still fits together just fine. There we go. Fits fine. You'll want to be sure that when you put your pieces on top of your project, that you don't put too much that's going to expand outside of the borders of the top that you've created, because if you do, it's going to be difficult to remove and replace the top once you have things on it. So just kind of be cautious and mindful of your spacing. Now I'm going to use little blocks here, and y'all, the little wood blocks that I use for support, they come from Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square section. Okay, I'm going to add my glue here. I could paint these black, but again, y'all know when I get going with the craft, I'm just going with the flow. You can fix that later, or we can cover it up. We're just going to keep going until I figure out how I want them to look. Now I guess I could poke things down in the side instead of gluing it, but no, I'm going to glue it because I want it to be sure it stays in place. So I'm just going to bend this piece in half. These picks that I have added on here are actually floral stems that come in a bag, and they're almost have like a papery outside, so it clings to the glue pretty well. Now going on the side of that block, I can add my little sucker. I wonder what flavor this would be with the bow on it. Would that be a black licorice sucker? Black cherry maybe? Who knows? And then this one, and I will add it against one of the blocks too. That way I've got some good support for it. Just making sure that my height is correct. I want a bunch of different levels. I want some low, some high, everything to get a little bit of attention without obscuring anything else. I'm just really not loving the flower. That's why I didn't show y'all how I put it in there. It is just too big for the piece, so I'm going to take that off. Don't worry, don't worry. I'll take a little bit of this orange twine, and I'm just going to wrap it around. The twine is going to help me out because instead of sticking metal to metal, I can actually put the fabric against, look how what a mess I made. I can actually put the fabric against the metal to help hold it in place. I'll just wrap, and then glue it, and then press it down. And you can also, I could also actually have tucked it inside of the little spiral that's going around that's supposed to be the vine. And I actually do that on the other side. So I used a black and 2 oranges on one side and an orange and 2 black on the other side. And you can see just how I've twisted it together with one stem. I wrapped it as well. I'm going to feed it through the stem, prop it up there, and then add a little bit of glue to hold that one in place. And these look like little pieces to me of like bubble gum, orange and black bubble gum. So now I'm fluffing out these little branches, and I'm going to use that like a tinsel, and I'm going to wrap it all around where I took the time to paint. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it all around. You know how it is when you start on a project and you're not really sure. You have an idea, but you don't, the details are not there yet. That's how it is with me a lot of times. So you see me put stuff on and take stuff off. That's what I'll be doing here because I had to have this on there. I just needed it on there. And the flower just looks redonkulous. So she's going bye-bye. We're 86 in the polka dot flower. Although she will be in another project, so I do like it. Just not here. I'm going to use a little bit. I just folded it so that it would fit. Again, we don't want anything extending too far out because it will interfere with us trying to put the lid back on. Then you can cut these again to get the pieces you want, make little circles, whatever, to make it fluffy. And then I'll add enough to cover that. I'm going to put something right there in the back. In the front, rather. These are little bells that I got from Temu. Here's that information. I'm going to cut the top off of one of those ornaments to make a flat bottom. And then we will attach that bell as like a top, and the ornament will be the bottom part that we glue down. I'm going to add some glue. I'm going to add the ornament. I was trying to decide which end is going to be flatter to stand up. So I just went ahead and used it this way. If you hold it long enough, it's going to sit up and do fine. But you can use super glue if you want it to be long term. Now here I go with my matchy-matchy. I've got to paint him because he's a different color orange, which is a beautiful orange, but he's not jiving with my other oranges. So personal preference, I'm just going to fix it. So now his whole body is the same color. He can be aged as well, but I didn't even bother aging him because I kind of want him to look like he's candy. I kind of wanted it to look like candy, like maybe, you know how at Easter you get the little bunnies? So I thought, well, you know, a little pumpkin man would be cool, you know, like chocolate, a little pumpkin man. And look how his little mouth is askew. He's not even totally, he's not even totally straight there. Then I added a little black bow to him. Cute, cute. He needs a hat. So guess what I got? You know I had to throw my rustic in there, right? An acorn. This is an acorn top, and I made him a little hat. I could definitely have painted it, but wait, that's not all. We're going to add a little ball to the top. He's going to be super cute with his little sparkly orange poof pom-pom ball on top of his hat. Look at that. Suddenly he's a French pumpkin candy. Taking the flower out. Yep, definitely taking that flower out. And because those little leaves are on wire, I can move those around so that they can be seen. And that's what I did. I kind of repositioned them a little bit. Show you that I got my lid on. Now I can decide what I want to do to make sure I still have the right spacing to get the lid on and off. I decided to go ahead and add some more of those little pieces. Oh my goodness. These are so cute. I don't know why these types of little projects make my heart so happy. They really do. They make me so happy. So I've turned it around. I'm on the back end of it, and I'm going to put something low, but something that will fill in space. So I'm taking another ornament, a little bunch of black and white. It's actually like what you put in a gift, a little shredded papers. Add a couple of little more things in the back that are low so I can move it back and forth. Just another little sparkly pom-pom. And y'all look at it all lit up. Oh, my heart. Oh my goodness. I love this. I love it so much. And I love that I didn't completely coat it down with the chalk paint. You know, I pounced it around so you can still see some brightness in there. You can see the difference in the color. It's very subtle. But he looks so darn cute. And you know what? I know that if you do this project, yours is going to be equally as wonderful or even better than mine. Thank you to all of my channel members. The money that I receive from you helps my channel. It goes straight back in my channel. Pumpkin sign is the next. So I've got a variety of brushes here. I'm not going to use these foam ones. I'm going to be using the other ones. Got that same pumpkin chalk paint, same Spanish moss green, and then I have my antiquing wax as well, of course. This is a thrifted pumpkin sign that I got. Love the features of it. Love that it looks like wood. It's actually MDF, as you can see here on the back. But I think I can change it to fit my own decor a little better. So I'm going to fight with this wire that's twisted on the back until I get it straight enough I can pull it back through that hole. That's right, you see the struggle, and I've got it sped up. Still fighting with it. And it continues to go. And we're going, and we're through. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to fold the little leaf back because it actually does not need to be there. I'm going to get it out of the way because I don't want to accidentally make it orange. And I'm going to take that chalk paint and go all over this entire thing. It's actually cut, or it almost looks like corrugated on the sides. Not the top piece, but the side pieces, they look corrugated. So I'm just trying to get down in all those little cracks. But it does give an interesting texture, which I will not fully try to cover up or mask. Don't need to go around your edges. You don't have to. I'm going to dry that completely. Always dry them between the layers. You can use a hairdryer here if you want. And then I'm going to go over the stem, which was already green, but I am going to go over it and make it a darker green. I'm going to take my rich black and go over all of those places on the inside where I got a little bit of orange paint or green paint, depending on where you're painting. This black just acts like an eraser, just like we did with the first project. We used that brown that was similar to the color of the wood to erase, finger quotations, to erase the problem, right? So that's what I'm doing here too, and look how crisp that looks. It's definitely looking a little more like my preferred way to decorate. I'm going to fold that leaf back up, and I'm going to color him the green color too. If y'all have not heard about the Crafty Cruise Getaway, you need to check the information in the description box below. We have such a good time, and Sammy is going to be with us in February 2025 on the cruise to teach a special class, so be sure you sign up quickly. Okay, so now I'm going to dry, make sure everything is dry, and we're going to age the leaf just like we did on the previous project. We're going to go around here and make this look like a fall leaf by just touching the tips with some of that orange paint, kind of blending it down the veining. I'm just using the little pieces of the brush, the fibers, to kind of get down in those spaces, and I'm just very lightly brushing that. I don't want it to be muddy. You can use a fabric leaf for this. I could actually even glue a fabric leaf on there if I wanted to. Now I got some brown paint, and I'm going to go over this same brown that we used before. I'm going to go over the stem, and then I'm going to brush it over the leaf, kind of blend it. It also will tone down slightly the orange wherever you put this at. And then dry that. You see a lot of drying, right? Now I'm going to get my chippy brush and my antiquing wax, and I am going to get my little leaf out of the way and start going around the edges. We're going to work from the edges onto the inside. I start with a very light technique and then build it up. I build it up a little bit at a time. And to save time, I won't be leaving in every minute of me doing this, but just notice in between each new screen the way that it has been built up, okay? Speeding it up here. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then underneath the bottom of it, so that things are as close to matchy-matchy as the other side. Close to being mirrored. Any edging, you need to go over it with your wax, and the side between the top and the bottom layer also go there. You can see how much the top stands out with that wax around the edges. Now on a damp baby wipe, I'm going to grab some of that wax, rub it in a little bit, and I'll go down each of the little, somebody told me what these were called on a pumpkin, and I don't remember from last year, but each of these little areas on the pumpkin. I'm going to go around the low spots and each little part that has an indentation in it and go over it with the wax, building it up a little at a time. Keep in mind, it will smear if you're not careful when you are using wax on something wet. Now see, I wanted one more down the middle, so I made another division in the front. I'm curving out the bottom so it actually looks like it has that dimension. And then taking a smaller brush, I'm going to go right down in the center with a little bit of that wax, right in the center of those depressions. And then I'll use the big brush again to kind of fan that out and blend it all together. I'm also going around all of the features, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the little dimples. All of that is going to get a little bit of that wax brushing outward, and then be sure that you kind of blend it. You can see the difference already from the left and the right eye. And I'll get up here and I'll work a little bit on that stem. And then also can go over that leaf. How many times have you seen a pumpkin type sign in Dollar Tree or Dollar General or any store and you think, oh, those colors, I can't do that, it doesn't match what I got? You know, a paint goes a long way. And really, some people say, I'm not paying $8 for a small bottle of paint. Some of my paints I've had forever. I've had to add water to them to keep using them. So my $8 has gone a long way, especially with chalk paint, because it really goes a long way. When it is dry, I can reapply the pieces, and I added a little duct tape on the back just to make sure it doesn't scratch anything on the wall or any door where I might want to hang it. We're not going to add bows. We're not going to add any of that on there. I'm going to adjust my wire so it doesn't drive me nuts, because, you know. And then because this is on a spring and on wire, it can be adjusted any way that you like. And this is what they look like together. So there's the pumpkin in the middle, the one we just did, and then we have the beautiful two pieces that are beside it. So we had 3 projects. I wanted to do 5 in this video, but it was so in-depth that I'm going to have to put the other 2 off for another video. So be sure that you subscribe. You can hit that little circle right there to subscribe. The first project is our cabinet of curiosities. All right, so I'm going to start off with this little tray or a cabinet that I found at Goodwill. I have a variety of stickers, so what you're going to see is just some options you could use. So I've got some stickers, and these are the ones that are kind of 3D, and they look kind of old. And I've got some wood butterflies. I've got a variety of stickers and stamps from Temu, depending on what kind of theme you're going for. I've got a little lighted lantern from Dollar Tree. Got a frame, some little pumpkins, a raven, a squirrel, a variety of these mesh ribbons from Dollar Tree, and these are from Temu. We'll take a look at these. Very cute. These just came in. I just got them. This is not a sponsored video, but I have found I'm getting some very unique craft pieces from Temu, so that's why I share those with you. And the prices are good, but you know, you can decide on your own where you want to spend your money. Very cute. These are so nice. I knew I had to have them. When I saw it, I just knew I had to have them for our vintage Halloween. Okay? Then you can use a variety of little plastic insects. Got some little, these are actually cupcake toppers. Charms from a bracelet. Little trees, little branches. Some things from Dollar Tree, stars and bones. They're just foam. these little picks from Dollar Tree, a candy corn looking tree from Dollar Tree, and then from Dollar Tree Plus I have 2 boxes of these little pieces, and we're going to be using a couple from each box. They're very nice and definitely worth the $5 because you get at least 5, sometimes 6 in a box, so it's definitely worth your money. And they're bigger than the little fairy figurines that you can find in the garden section. Okay, so here is our box, and we're going to try to find things that will fit in the spaces. For now, I'm going to turn the box sideways, and we're going to just kind of play around with placement. Don't become overwhelmed. Just, see what you like and see what fits in the different little spots. And we'll give each of the little things that we like a little home. Tree is too big to go in the larger place and the bigger slots there, but these trees can be cut down. They're just on a wire, a twisted wire, so you can cut this down. I'm going to cut the tip off of the tree, and I'll be trimming up the bottom too. You can see here, I'm going to work on the bottom a little bit. Sometimes I get nervous about cutting into pieces, but then I just have to remind myself, I paid $1.25 for it. If I mess it up, I have another one. Not a big deal. Okay. Now I've got it where it will fit. And it'll just fluff right out like it did before if you just kind of play around with the fibers. Be sure you dump your fibers out of there. This looks like spider web, so for this project, I'm going to use it for that. I've just doubled it over, and yeah, that's going to fit in there. I like that as a background. You can use construction paper, or you can use any kind of crafting paper or wallpaper in the back if you want to do that. But because of the depth and because I want to have some dimension in here, you're not really going to see what's in the far back. If you get up close and look, you can, but some of these you're not really going to be able to see. But I'm still going to show them to you so you have an idea of what you can use. Think of all those bits and pieces you have from Halloween crafting gone by that are just maybe in your bowl of scraps, or you didn't know what to do with the pieces, but for some reason you can't part with them. This is a great opportunity to use all those little extra pieces. I did not have to buy not one single thing new for this project. I had all of these. I bought these thinking I was going to make a little village with them, but I thought they fit perfectly in this box, so I'm just going to use them in the box. All right, so I want to get that white tone down a little bit, so for my choice I'm just going to use some antiquing wax over all of the whites that I might be using in here. I am going to place this forward and hold it in place until the glue is set. This one it'll extend slightly outside of the box, but for the most part it fits in there. And I've just added some glue to hold that in place too. See that? I'm taking this little sculpture of the hear no, speak no, see no, and I'm going to put him in here. He is a little too small for the big spots, and he's a little definitely too big for the smaller places. So what I'm going to do is just cut it down. This is a thin wood, like a veneer or something really thin, and I'm just going to use my clippers to snap the sides, and then my bullnose pliers to rock back and forth and cut off the inner part. And I'm going to go do this in little sections, in 3 different sections, all the way to the back of the box. So now we have one long narrow spot. I don't want splinters, so I'm going to take my little emery board and just sand it down on both sides. Makes it look nice too. And you won't be able to see where we cut the divider out. If that's a concern, just grab some antiquing wax and go over the lighter spots. Now I want him to go here, but I want it to look more like sort of like a topiary, I guess. So I'm going to have to give it some more height by standing it up. This is just a scrap piece that I have. You can use blocks from Dollar Tree or whatever you have that you can stack this on top of, and just put it right on top. Now, an idea, if you don't have one of these boxes, if you look at those toys, Melissa and Doug toys, a lot of times they have divisions in their boxes, puzzle boxes and things like that. So consider picking something like that at the craft store. You won't have as many slots in it, but you can make it work for sure. For this little lighted feature, I am going to use Velcro dots. I use 2 in the back to begin with, and then I do add 2 to the front later on, which you do not see. To get them in the right spots, I'm going to add the soft side down to the lantern, and then the prickly side is going to be what's touching the box. So when I put it in here, I put them together so they line up, and I'm going to just squish them down and hold them in place until until I feel like it's had enough time to kind of grab. Then you can just take it out, turn it on, turn it off. Yay! Happy dance. Happy dance. Love it when things come together. Okay, so we can turn this back off, save our battery. Okay, now we're going to keep going, and I'm again doing the same thing. If it's something that I know I'm going to leave in that spot, I'll leave it there. If not, then I'll just kind of move it around till I get it like I like it. Now on this one, I am also going to be using a mahogany, I think it's the mahogany, no, it's the walnut furniture repair marker. And I'm going to use that to just kind of trace out and give it a little more detail so it doesn't disappear when we get it in the box. You can put that on, and then quickly, you can kind of blend it out a little bit with your baby wipe. Okay, so this is a bracelet. I have 2 of these. I bought one to craft, one to wear. I'm going to bend this out. It's sort of it's metal, but it's kind of soft and flexible, so I'm just going to bend it out straight, and I'll show you what to do with that in a moment. We're going to skip around a little bit, so bear with me. Now this one also, I've got it toward the front of the box. This is going to make some shadows behind it, plus it's going to bring it close enough to the front that the light will hit it and you can actually see what's in there instead of losing it in the back. If you choose to use something like these puffy stickers, you can put them in, and I just put mine all the way against the back wall. Now the benefit of these, as opposed to something that is flat with no color, is that there's enough dimension in it for the light to reflect off of it. So, you know. Okay, so now I've got some of these that look like books. I found these recently. I really like them. I'm going to put these in here to make it look like maybe there's some books on the shelf. And here's another one. You can trim them down if you want to trim them down, but I'm just going to use the 2 books here. Now, like that. You can also use hot glue if you want to make sure that everything stays in place once you get it exactly where you want to keep it. I'm going to add a little spider to the top just to kind of embellishment. There's this like sands through the hourglass. Do y'all know what that's from? It's been around a long time. Okay, so I'm just going to add my little sticker in there. Then I'm going to color my other white pieces like I said before. Let it dry. I'm going to grab these are just some jewelry pliers, but I pick up any kind of tool I find that I think I can use crafting, and I repurpose it for something else. So I'm going to bend the bottom so it almost has like a leg or a little stand to hold it. I prop the box up for this because I don't want the glue to drip to the back. I want this to sit right down in the glue, and I have it bent so that it's a tight squeeze and it'll hold itself in place. For this little broom piece, I'm just going to take the colored stick off. You can paint yours if you would like. And I'm going to go over this with a little antiquing wax. This is just a dowel rod that I cut down. I want it to look more like a natural stick. A little hot glue and stick it right back in there. Rather than having the cartoony colors here, I'm going to wrap this with a little bit of burlap. And then I will also be coloring the black part of this later. I'm just going to embellish it somewhat. So stay tuned so you can see for sure what we do. Then you can just glue and trim that off. Okay? So I wasn't certain about where I wanted the hourglass. So now that I know, I'm going to add my glue, and then I'm going to put it in there. You can add moss if you want to the bottom of these, if you would like to do that. But y'all, I'm planning on doing another one of these in more of a sort of a gothic, dark academia, dark cottagecore look. So be sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss that, because and by the way, I am going to be changing my room up from the cottage, like a light cottage core. It's real neutral in here. I'm going to be changing it to dark cottage core. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know, and I will try to share some of that with y'all. Okay, so this is just a little bit of that sand colored paint, and I'm just kind of brushing it over a little bit. I love to just keep blending out and adding colors and layers like it's old, you know, like it's old and it's been loved before and we're loving it again. So I'm going to take that spider web track there and add a bunch of spiders to it. I have this little pot, and it came in a bag. I think this was from St. Patrick's Day at Dollar Tree. But I'm going to take this pot and I'm going to color this with chalk paint because it's a real shiny color and I want it to look like it's old. So we'll start off with the black paint and let that dry thoroughly. While that's drying, I'm going to make a bunch of balloons for one of our little ghosts. Now, to make it easier to stick to the back of the ghost, I'm going to use a pipe cleaner to wind these together. And then that is easier to stick down. It kind of grabs the glue and will hold it in place on the back. He is going to be a little bit forward in the box. There's going to be spaces behind him, but the dimension I love. Okay, so he's glued in place. He's not going anywhere. You can also add a little glue to the back of his little balloon there. I'm going to add in some rub-ons in case this is something that you might have and that you might like to use. These are from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to burnish it down. It's a window. It's really nice. And then I'm going to take another one, and this is like a rose with something on it from the same sheet. I'm going to put it down. And I know we have talked before on this channel about happy accidents. Well, we have a happy accident. Or I'm not going to blame y'all for it. I have a happy accident. You can see here that it's pulled off. I knew that it was going to happen when it happened, but I'm going to show you how to make that look like you did it on purpose. So I'm going to take some rich espresso and I'm going to go over this pot and I'm going to make it look like maybe it was a bronze or brass pot that is just burnt because it's been on the spit forever, you know. I'm going to color it and I'm only going to go over the one side that's going to be exposed, go under the lip, over the lip, and dots, pounce it all over until you are comfortable with the amount of coverage that you get, and be sure that you do the handle of that as well. Set it aside and let that dry. Then I'm going to move on to another section. Y'all, when my mind starts going, oh my goodness, I hope y'all can follow me. Just jump around with me for a little bit, okay? Let's just pretend like we're all in Brandy's head right now, okay? Beware though, be very aware. Gets nuts in there sometimes. Okay, a little bit of hot glue on the top, a little bit of hot glue on the bottom. I'm just explaining what I'm doing since I didn't think it pertinent to show you what I was doing. And then I'm going to go over and just kind of tap on that same, whatever's left in the brush. I'm going to tap that on to the picture. I'm also going to put it on the lantern. Then I'm going to put it on the wood pieces I have in there. I'm also going to put a little bit on my tree trunk, you know, just wherever. Okay, so now that the pot is dry, I'm going to take some of this meshy ribbon, I'm going to kind of ball it up, put it in the pot, and then I have these two bones. I've had these forever. I did them last year, and I probably thrifted them because I find little odds and end pieces of stuff that are not in bags when I go to the bins, so I just pick it up. But you can use those foam Dollar Tree bones if you want to, and you can antique those a little bit with the antiquing wax. I'm going to add some hot glue, and that is some smoking hot glue. Put that pot in there with the pretty side facing forward. Ooh, I love it. She looks like she's over the pot. Then I'm going to take another little picture that I like, and this one has a skeleton on it. I'm going to add him in here. These pictures came from a package that I think I ordered from Amazon. If I can find that link, I'll grab it and I'll put it in the description box for you because yeah, I love them. It's several different prints in I think 4 different sizes. So okay, so for more dimension and support, I'm going to take another block here and I'm going to paint it black. I'm going to put this little black ghost, and this is just top of a coffee stirrer. I mean, I'm telling you, you're just going to go nuts here. You just do whatever. I'm going to put it down in the box with that broken stencil, and I also put a sticker in there beside it. And then to cover up that shiny, I'm just going to cover it with the black paint that's left in the brush. I'm going to go back over and add a little more black paint here and there just to make sure that everything is blended and everything looks consistent throughout the project. Now I love this raven. Absolutely love it, and y'all know I love my ravens. Put your spectacles on, and then I'm going to trim off all of this white. I want to make a picture with this, and I don't want that white in the background. Needs to be trimmed up a little bit more. Just don't want to cut my words off. And then it's going to fit here. I'm going to take my paint. I'm just using what's in that brush. I'm just going to push it down and just kind of make it look messy and distressed and just ew. Give it a chance to dry. Then you're going to peel the backing off your sticker and just apply it somewhat toward the center. Now, the fact that we painted it black on the outside will give you a little bit of freedom if you can't get it lined up exactly, because you're not really going to notice. Now again, same thing, just to take a little shine out, I'm going to add a little bit of that black paint that's from the brush in there. I'm going to add some hot glue and put that right down in there. Hi, Mr. Ghost. Bye, Mr. Ghost. All right, so I'm going to add my raven up here. Look at that little splinter poking out, y'all. I do get it. I'm going to glue it down in there with that raven picture. I'm going to take some of these ornaments from Dollar Tree. These, of course, like I said, everything pretty much is from last year. I'm going to add some glue here, and I'm just going to make like a little, again, a little stacked thing. I'm going to take this frame that once was yellow, and we painted it with black. And I am going to, and I actually just spray painted it. I'm going to take that same espresso color and pounce it all over this frame to bring out the beautiful details, and inside that lip too. And then I'm going to use some double stick tape and stick it on the back of my picture. Then I am going to go inside of the backing and kind of blur that out with a little bit of that same espresso color, just so it blends in a little bit better. Put the backing back on, and then of course tear this off so it will lay flat. It's just a little kickstand on there. And you can also take that off with a screwdriver if you want. I'm going to take that same espresso and go over the lighter spots. It's really going to make that pop out. Then I'm going to add this frame right here. And it's on the outside. It doesn't go all the way on the inside. I'm totally fine with that. I like it. I like all of the texture and dimension, and there's so much to look at. You want the idea to be that every little box is its own little world, and it just makes sense. You know, it just has something interesting in every spot, in every little room in this house, if you will. These are some remaining beads that I had left over from the sign that we did, the light up sign that we did. And then I'm going to take one of these plastic pumpkins and squish in the back so he'll be flat, and we can glue him right inside of there. Add your glue and pop him right in there. I'm going to take the charms off of that bracelet, and then I'm going to use them as ornaments on the tree. I use 3 of them as ornaments. Then I'm going to take the boo and put him right over here on the ghost. Do you see how we're mixing everything up here? We're mixing up our elements. We've got some resin, some paper, some metals. I'm going to take the tip of that tree, and it's going to be over here by our picture. I'm going to add some of these little bronze-looking butterflies that I found in my stash. And you can see the end of the black broom. I added some bronze to that, and it really looks like a different broom now. It's going to be just on the outside of the box, just kind of freestanding. I'm going to put a little glue on this little ghosty and put a butterfly on his hand. See, there's so much going on in here. This is so much fun. I love this, and I really hope that you try something like this because, oh my goodness, I had a blast. So I put the light bulb over there by the little skull topiary. I'm going to take that wooden butterfly off because to me it wasn't meshing. It didn't feel right, so I just removed it, but you can do whatever you like. I really wanted that metal in there. Put the Halloween sign right on the top, and I'm going to continue to add all over the place. Here's one of those cute ornaments. The little child has the pumpkin over its face. Here's a little witch girl. Put her up there by the witch stuff. And then this little witchy is going to go down here. Okay, I put some little stones from Dollar Tree in here. It's just a little rock. And I'm going to add some brown paint just on the inside of this bottle for the witch. And I'm going to add hot glue to this cork because I don't want that to leak out. I'm going to add another little butterfly here on the tombstone. It's just going to cover up that spider. I'll add the bottles in here and there where they make sense. And again, I'm not pushing everything to the back. Here's an idea. For the wool of that, I cut up a pom-pom, and I'm going to stick that all on the inside. You won't see it that much, but like I said, if you're curious, and this is our cabinet of curiosities, and you get up close and look, you can see all those little details. So I'm going to just glue this one right in this spot. Look at everything we have going on in here so far. How fun! How fun! Okay, so here's another one of those pumpkins. I'm going to squish it in the back. I've had a bag of these pumpkins forever, and I think I've finally used them all. Maybe have one or two left, but they're so vintage looking to me and so cute. They fit nicely into these projects. Okay, I'm going to add him in there. And then look at this. This came off of a banner. But I've got so much mixed media in here. I love it. Then you see the little Halloween, the little girl over there. She's on a piece of foam board, and it just fits right inside out of the same pack. I'm going to go over it with that espresso, and then I'm going to paint that frame out with a little bit of that black chalk paint. I'm going to paint it out, and then I'm going to smear it with my finger a little bit to make it look old. And I'm decided to go in here and do the same thing. I'm going to take that white out by just covering it up with some black and a thin brush. Simple enough. All of this just helps give it a more of an aged look. Okay? Then whatever is left, I'm going to go back over. I'm just taking a broad look at everything that's going on in here, and I'm going to go over the stickers, the puppy stickers, everything with the same espresso. I'll add a spider down here, and of course we want to give him some highlights, so check out how he looks with that espresso on him. Nice. You could also use bronze. Now we have to have lights in this box, do we not? And rather than putting string lights in, I thought, how about little individual flickering candles? Yes. So you can cover up the flame of the candle here, the little plastic top, and spray paint it black. It would probably be better because I use chalk paint and it does chip off, but you know, you can always go back in and touch up. Let the candles set aside and dry. Then I'm going to go over with some of this black. This is like you use in gift bags or whatever, and I'm going to use it to just fill out some of those little hollows, just again for a little more interest. I'm going to add a bat. This is just one of those wall bats. It's just like a little plasticky piece. I'm going to elevate it on a black block, glue it down above the ghost, and then I'm going to tone it down a little bit with the black chalk paint. This is how this little beauty is going to look before we put lights in it, of course. Here are our lights, and I'm just going to add them here and there. I thought, how about putting one down in the pot where the witch is cooking? That might give it a little extra something, a little extra spook. So I put it in the top and put the bones back in. So for the first project, this is our overlook. I'm extremely pleased with the way this came out, and I hope that you are inspired from this. I hope that you look at this and you take the inspiration from it, and that you make something like this of your own. Now I'm calling it a cabinet of curiosities, even though there are no doors or whatever, but you know, you get the idea. You could certainly use the little things that have doors and stuff like that on them. Y'all don't leave yet. We've got 3 more projects. What are you going to put in your box? Are you going to do fun? Are you going to do scary? Might even do like a witch's cabinet. Maybe you've got some vintage pieces of your own. You can watch my videos on Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. It is free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the comments where we have a lot of fun. The next one is ye old spellbook. So this is a piece that I got from Goodwill. It's a little bit sad, so we're going to give it a makeover. I'm going to use a glue stick. You're going to use a piece of leather, and this one came from Temu, but you can definitely get yours from Dollar Tree. We're going to choose pictures here. Again, this is from the same pack. It's just repeats of the same ones, pretty much in different sizes. Love these. I think we're going to use, maybe we'll use, yeah, we're going to use that one. I'm going to cut it out. And then I'm also going to cut it down where the there's no white trim at all on it. So I need to see how much of this we're going to use. What you're looking at here on the bottom is like a waxed paper backing, because this is a self stick, which makes it very convenient because you won't have to see the hot glue through your leather. You know what I mean? You know what I mean if you've had to glue leather onto anything. You'll get those little bumps and tracks underneath it, which is okay for a spooky book, I reckon. Now we're going to measure out how much we need to cover it. When I did this, I don't know what in the world I was thinking, but I ended up covering the top and both sides rather than leaving one side open to show the pages of the book. But no worries. Caught it and I fixed it. Okay? So I've trimmed it down. I'm going to sit it down on the sticky side, press it down, and then I'm going to put a little bit of tension as I roll it over so that it clings tightly to the book stack or the box, whatever you want to call it. It's actually a box that looks like 3 books. And I'll fold it all around, and then I'm going to push it down with my hands, and then you can burnish it with a wooden ruler if you don't have any type of a squeegee. You can really get a good grip on this though and make it nice and smooth and flat. Okay, so I'm going to go around and make sure I trim off anything that is extra on here because we don't need that. And you can see I covered up 2 sides, so yeah, I'll fix it, don't worry. Then I'm going to take an awl, and this just comes with like it came with a basket making toolkit. I have no idea what you would do with a basket, but it works really good as a leather tool in this predicament. Now I can see where the ridges are for the books, individual books, so I'm just going to push in there and kind of dig that little hole or that trench back out, dig that little track back out. And this is when I went, okay dummy, that's not going to work. You can't see the pages. This is not a box, it's a book stack. So I just grabbed my sander and go back in, peeled that off, cut it, made sure it was trimmed up nicely, and then I just took the wording off with a sander. And knock your dust off, get it nice and clean. Simple enough. You know, I make mistakes too, y'all. Don't get discouraged when you do stuff like that. You can fix it so easy. It's just crafting, right? It's just crafting. Now I'm going to use that same awl, and you can use a screwdriver for this if you want to, but I'm going to make scratches going side to side like you would have for paper. You can see all the little different lines. So I'm going to do this on both sides and on the side where you would see the pages of the books on the other side. This is important when you are adding paints to it or coloring or waxes to it because it kind of shows highlights and it shows the low places, which gives dimension, and that's what you want for realistic, you know, more realistic looking projects. So I'm going to do a little heavier towards what the binding would be, which is where the leather is, because I want it to, you know, see the dimension it gives there. I just like that. I just really, really like that. You can see it kind of fades or ombres out both sides. Yes. And then we're going to do that on here too. I'll use yeah, see, that's where I told you we're going to cut that off. I'm going to cut that off and put it aside. I'm going to grab some of that black paint and I'm going to like wipe almost all of it off. It's going to seem silly, but look how much is still left in the brush. See that? That's why we do it that way. I don't want to have too much in there. And this way, when I put it on, the part where I push the most, which is the corners, is going to be darker and it's going to fade out slightly toward the inside and the outside. And I like the look because it makes it look like it is aged. And that's the idea here. These are supposed to be vintage, aged, old-fashioned crafts. My representation of it anyway, my idea of it. I'm going to add it to the leather here. And you know, leather has texture, so where I wipe it off, the black is going to still cling down in the lower spots. I'm going to go back over it and do this several times until I get the coverage that I like. I'm going to try to keep that nice and flat so that the dark color stays in those little tracks there. You can see? You're just going to continue to build this up as you like it. And go all the way around and be sure that you're paying attention to all the sides. I'll take a very skinny pointed brush and go down the spaces in between each book. Yes, I just did air quotes, as if you could see that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here, and I'm going to go through these little tracks, like I said. You can go through and use your little wipe and make sure that if you have any that came off, that you just kind of wipe that out. You can use a damp cloth if you don't have a baby wipe. I just feel like this is so much easier for cleanup, and I'm not ruining any cloths this way. I can just toss it when I'm done. What is left on there, I'm going to put on the top, and then I'm going to dry it. And once it is dry, we're going to apply our glue stick. Yes, we are, because the glue stick is what we're going to use to attach down our little picture. And be sure you get all your little bubbles and stuff out. These I found at Dollar Tree too, and they're really nice pieces. They look old to me, and I think this is going to give us a bit more of that vintage look. So because I didn't put these on first, I still want it to look like it is behind it. So I can achieve that look, I think, if I just cut the little triangles out from the inside, and I'll just put them back down on the plastic because we're going to use those later in another part of this book. So save those. We're going to stretch our dollar here. I'm just going to lay these down, each of these corners down where I think is a good placement for them before I glue them down. Now what you're seeing is me just kind of trimming to make sure that I have a nice crisp corner. And I think, yeah, I do like the way that this looks. So we're gonna go with this. And I'll have one for each corner, of course. At the bottom it says Lucky Halloween. A Halloween spell, Lucky Halloween. Okay, so then I'm just going to add a little hot glue in the corner for each one of these pieces to hold them in place. Then we're going to work on the sides. If you choose, you can use rub-ons, you can freehand, you can do what you want here. I'm not going to put labels on these books at all. I am just going to embellish these with some more of those beautiful pieces. I don't know why everybody assumes, so many people assume that witches are, I don't know, that maybe dark is a bad thing. Dark is not a bad thing. You know, it's all about how you use your interpretation of things, I think. And I do not think that all witches are bad witches. No, I certainly do not. So this is just, I don't know, paying a little respect, I guess, for the people who have done good things in the past and then were accused of really bad things. It was a sad part of our history, folks. A very, very sad part of our history. Okay, now I've got all those on there. You can see how I used the corners. Didn't waste. We used the corners on there. And I'm just going to brush over this one with the antiquing wax once I have got them glued down, because I know that I'm happy with their placement. I'm going to go over all of these pieces too with it. Just going to kind of bring that shine down just a little bit and age it. And then I'll go over the picture and the entire book with a light layer of wax. And this gives me the perfect age look that I'm going for. I hope you like this one. The next is our set of boo blocks. There's 3 of them. So I've got some black blocks here. But if you don't have any of these, you can use these from Dollar Tree and paint them black. Just little dice. These are the 3 ornaments that I chose to use for this project. I have some little wood blocks and some black chalk paint. I'm going to use some of my double stick. Well, this is not double stick. This is painter's tape. And I'm going to roll it over and put it down on my mat here, my little silicone mat, and I'm going to press these down to hold them in place while I paint them. I always have paint all over myself. Y'all know that. Always. Always. Doesn't bother me though. Okay, just wash it off. Once everything is dry, yeah, I do leave one side that is not painted to put downward. I'm going to push these about 1/4 of an inch back from the edge of the block. So 1/4 inch back for each one of these. So center and 1/4 inch. Got it? Now we can start placing these down. For 2 of these, we're going to leave it just like this. Stand them up there. Allow them to dry. Here's the other one with the little cutie pie on it. This is probably my favorite one. And then for the one with the cat, we're going to turn it backwards so that it is placed further in the back. And you'll see why in a moment. Okay, so we'll put that one in the middle. All right. Now, I am going to use some of these little Scrabble blocks, but you can use anything. You can use stickers, you can paint this on, you can use puff paint, whatever you want to use here. But I'm going to use these because I think they look good with this. And spell out boo. And I'm trying to just sort of get them in the center. If they're not perfect, you know I don't care. All right, now this is why you want it to do that. Now when you put them together, look! Okay, the next project is going to be our tag ornament. We made a tree, so now we gotta have tags and we got to have little things to hang on it. I've got some vintage velvet ribbon. I have a little goodie from those $5 boxes. A tag with just wood, one of these pictures. We're gonna use some tinsel or some of those pipe cleaner thingies. Some more of the sandcastle paint. I'm going to paint that on there and I am going to allow it to dry. I'm going to grab my glue stick, put this down all over where we want to apply the picture. I did take the trim off of the picture. If anything hangs over, you can file it off or trim it, or you can bend it over the edge. I'm going to use just a popsicle stick, very simple, to just go over the top. Just some options for y'all in case you don't have a squeegee or an old credit card. This is so easy. Now, once it is dry, I'm going to take my antiquing wax and I'm going to go all around the edges where it meets the tag. This is going to make it look old. And I know for some people, I've had some people say, why do you bother putting the paint on there and then dirtying it all up with the, antiquing it or whatever. It's because that's the look I like. And because when you layer it like this, it just gives it more of an authentic look, in my opinion. But by all means, do whatever floats your boat. Okay. Yeah, if it brings you joy, you're doing the right thing. Now, we're going to just put it across the top of it, and this is just one of them now to give you an idea of my size, to give me an idea of where my placement's going to be. It's going to make it easier when I try to glue it down. I'll cut a separate piece for the bottom because we didn't have enough. And I'm going to tap that onto the bottom. Protect your fingers, ladies and gents. Okay. Then I'm going to start at the top with the second piece. And we've already got it folded. And it's going to fit right back on like a glove. I'm tapping it carefully in. You can use your little clamps to hold everything in place while it dries, because you're going to be pulling up on that tinsel to add more glue down and working in small little areas. And it's always great to have something extra to help you hold things in place. If you make a mess with glue doing this, and it's very easy to do, just use your heat tool afterwards and it's just going to melt that glue back down. Okay? Now I'm going to go around it with some of this velvet ribbon, and I'm going to place some of these little, whatever these are, I guess they're supposed to be berries, maybe, from Dollar Tree that we used before. I'm going to just, I'm going to pull this one off because I don't want it there. I wanted to put my little welcome sign and I forgot, so I'm just going to move this up, put it in this spot. It's going to help fill in the gaps too. It's really careful to be precise with the ribbon like this if you're using hot glue. I just can't get in those really tight spaces when I have the finger protectors on. I can't do it, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to add this to the bottom corner, which I think looks super cute. It's going to give us some more dimension, a little more interest here. I'm going to paint over this with some antiquing wax, and I'm also going to go over the bottom part of the wood also. I'm going to let that dry. I'll take that pointy brush and go right down in the spaces of the pumpkin. Then I'm going to take the remainder of that piece of pipe cleaner and we're going to make a hanger. I'm going to just fold it over. I'm going to tuck it right through the back side and pull these out right above where we have that ribbon. I'll glue these in place. And then I will add a little spider in the middle. Now, I forgot when I was doing this to add another little bead up there in the right corner, and I didn't realize it until I was editing the video. So just beware that it is going to be fixed later, but you won't see it because I noticed it kind of late. All right, so here are the 3 projects that we just did. I wanted to give you something that you could use on your new tree that you made, and some things that you could sit around that will coordinate and look really nice with what you already have going on if you're doing the vintage Halloween look. I think these are really adorable together. They are vintage yet playful, and I just really like them. Y'all remember to never stop trying. Keep on trying. It's just paint, it's just glue, you know, keep trying. You're going to get it. You will get it. If it brings you joy, then you're doing the right thing for you and your home, right? That's what I encourage you to do. If you enjoy the budget-friendly DIYs that we do on this channel, if you enjoy the content that I'm putting out, I would love it for you to subscribe, to like the video so I know to make more like it, and to share it with a friend, because if you're a true friend, you want them to have some joy in their day as well. All right, the first is going to be a cat swag. I'm going to use this sign from Dollar Tree. They've had this sign out for a few years now. I'm going to use some ribbon from Hobby Lobby and from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use some spider pins. I'm going to use some of these ornaments from Dollar Tree. 2 of the trees from Dollar Tree. They're just the black and orange, but you can use whatever you find. I'm going to use 2 rolls of this mesh. We will start by taking the bottom of the stand off of the tree because we won't need it. Take both of those out of the box. You can see one of them looks like somebody already opened it. It was torn, looked kind of sad, but I picked it up anyway because I had the worst time trying to find these things last year. All right, so I'm going to lay it down flat and then pull all of the little branches out to the side. When you pull them up, you can tell where they connect to the hole in the middle, and just pull those right out to the side. Everything needs to be nice and flat. You don't want any hiding underneath that tree trunk or the pole that is in the middle. So just pull them all out to the side. And then there's this one long one down here on the end that it really can't support anything as a tree, but we're going to leave it on there because we can use it. You see how it's nice and flat on both sides. We're going to do the same thing to the other tree, and then we're going to stack them on top of each other, one about 5 inches lower than the first one. And then you're going to make sure that you get all those little branches pulled out. Get your zip ties. You can use floral wire if you don't have zip ties. There's lots of options for placing things down when you're making wreaths and swags. So you could do pipe cleaners, you could use floral wire, you can use jute cord if that's what you have. Just depends on how determined you are to get this done. Then I'm just going to cut the excess off, and I like to do this in 2 different places. If you put it in a spot where there are branches above and below the zip tie, that's going to keep it from sliding out, and it'll really lock it into place for you. Just trimming this off. You can use some heavy-duty scissors or kitchen scissors to cut that off too. And then I'm going to just shape it just a little bit so I have access to all those little branches, because we're going to be adding some things on top of it. And I have found that just doing this first step helps me when I'm placing everything down to make sure that it is symmetrical and that everything, you know, there's no areas that are thicker than others and there's bald spots in your arrangements. So this is just my way of doing it. And if the branches are longer, just push them downward like a teardrop shape. So you're going to have about 18 inches to the pole and then another 5 inches to the very tip. If you don't like the tip hanging down, just fold that back up and you're fine. All right, we're going to start off by taking the mesh out. And I have 2 rolls of this. You can use whatever color you want depending on what you're using. I'm going to stack them on top of one another just to make the cutting a little bit easier. And this is a 18-inch or 1.5 foot ruler, and I'm just going to do 1.5 foot. I didn't use my cutting mat because, you know, some people might not have one, but you can use a ruler and do the same thing. It takes a little bit longer to do it with scissors, but you can certainly do it. So this is how you're going to do it that way. Now you are going to need 18 18-inch pieces of this mesh, and you're going to assemble them like so. We're going to make cruffles or woodland ruffles, whatever you want to call it. This is what we're making. And I know some of y'all hate mesh, but look, you can work with it, and it makes a great base for your swags and wreaths. So we'll fold it over, walk it toward the middle, fold the other end to the inside, and now you have a little ruffle. And if you have any ends that are coming unraveled, just pull that off. They'll come off one at a time. Just pull it off to neaten it up. I'll show you again. Just going to roll it. It's about the probably the diameter of a quarter if you want to try to be more specific. Walk your little fingers up there and then flip the other end, roll that other end, and then push it toward the center. And this is what it looks like. This is a really nice technique to use if you use 10-inch mesh. It just really takes up a lot of space and makes a very full wreath or swag. So I'm going to use zip ties this time because I don't think I've shown y'all this, but feel free to use pipe cleaners. If you're a beginner or you're just trying to get the hang of this, don't use a zip tie. You're going to be so much happier, and it's going to be so much easier for you to just use pipe cleaners, okay? So I've put it on the top part because the widest part is going to be the top of our swag. This is, I guess, what's referred to as a teardrop swag. Walking my fingers up again, folding the edge, just kind of rolling it, and then making the little ruffle. And then we'll stack one on top of the other. Little clamps will help also to hold things in place while you work on the next one. I always use my little clamps when doing this type of a technique. I love them. I got 2 packs of these clamps and I got them at Dollar Tree. So look in the Crafter's Square. These are very helpful and worth your $1.25. Now you're going to cross them over just like an X. Hold it onto the outside of the swag. We want them on the outside, so the end of one of the branches up high. I'm going to wrap that zip tie around there, or just go ahead and use a pipe cleaner and just wrap it around the front, twist it off in the back, and trim it down. Very easy to do. I've got so many of these zip ties, it's just time to use them. And I need to practice and show y'all different ways of doing things, okay? Because I don't want anybody to have any excuse to not craft. When you're in the mood, you have got to be ready to do it. Not everybody has time to just do this all day, right? Well, I do because it's my job, but you know what I mean. When you got a spare moment in your busy life and you want to do something, you want to make it as easy on yourself as you can. So I'm going to go all the way down. I have 4 on each side and then 1 at the bottom. So that is a total of 9. And that's why we needed 2 of these little cruffles for each little section. All right, so then I'm just going to make sure that the shape is like I like it. We're going to leave that top part open. In the middle section, you don't have to be concerned with putting anything there unless you want to, because that's where we're going to put this little cat. So I'm just going to disassemble this. I'm just breaking this off because I know how to hold it without breaking both pieces, but use some type of a knife or a putty knife or something to kind of slip underneath there. You see how I'm doing it here on the back of the cat head? That way you don't accidentally break this, because it is not wood. It's like a pressed board or MDF, something like that. Okay, so I'm going to take off my sticker. No mini pearl in it today. And make sure that I get my little rough spots off. Now I'm going to go around the edge of this. I do this with all of these boards. I'm going to go around the edge. You can choose black, you can use antiquing wax, you can use dark brown, whatever you want to use, but it just looks better to me. And it kind of conceals the fact that it is something that you got from Dollar Tree. It just sharpens up the look of it. It makes it look a little bit better. And you know you always want your things to look more of a high-end look, right? No use screaming out in the middle of the parking lot that, hey, this came from Dollar Tree. Look what I got at Dollar Tree. Especially y'all, if this is something that you're going to try to sell, you really want to give your customer something that is worth your time making it, right? You want to show them that you really value them as a customer and you really value your work. All right, along the same lines of that, we are going to just spruce this hat up a little bit. Certainly not something you have to do, but I had some of this and I had thrown it into my donate pile, and then I thought when I got this cat, wait a minute, we can use this to spruce this hat up. So it almost in the beginning looked like he had a little party hat on, but it is actually a witch's hat. So to really bring out that shape, I'm going to go around here, all the way around the hat. Now you could see what I was doing just a moment ago. Put your finger protectors on if you're using hot glue. If you're using cool temp glue, or you wait a few seconds for the glue to dry, you can twist that with the twirl of the little trim or rope there, and it will make a little point on the end so that it's not frayed out. It just gives it a better look. Okay, so maybe that's something you could do to make it a little bit easier. If you're going to be using something like maybe some baker's twine in an orange and white, that would be cute here. I just like the idea of this being slightly, not glittery, but kind of shiny, or almost like a little metallic fleck in it. And y'all, I thrifted this, so I don't know where you can get this from, but pretty much any place where you get regular Halloween DIY things, you can find some colored cording to use. You could also use jute for this if you wanted, or some orange jute or some black jute, whatever you like. But I think this is cute, and it looks like a circus type print, and I don't know, I think about vintage and sometimes circus comes to mind, right? So I'm just going to cut this off. Got it all trimmed out there, and if it bothers you that that little white line is there, go over it with some black and you're fine. I'm just going to leave it there. So to attach this onto our swag, we're going to use some pipe cleaners. I'm using black because it will just kind of blend away and you won't see it there in the swag once we get it assembled. Just using a little bit of glue, place the pipe cleaner down in it, a little string of glue across the top, and then a piece of paper just locks everything into place. It's going to hold it in there so you don't accidentally pop off your pipe cleaners when you were twisting those onto the main branch or the main pole in the middle. Okay? All right, so we're going to let that dry and cool, and we're going to move on to adding some little pieces of ribbon onto the stacks. All right, we're going to go to 9 inches, and we are going to do 18 pieces of the black and white, and you're going to need more than one roll of that black and white, or whatever print you choose. And then we're going to use 9 pieces of the orange, or whatever print you choose. I'm using 2 different sizes. Both of these are wired. I am going to cut upwards here to make a dovetail. This is very easy to do. I'm just lining it up and then cutting it so that there's a V in the top and a V in the bottom. And then we'll do the same thing over here, V in the top and V in the bottom. You can also do yours at a slant, whatever you like. This just kind of keeps it from, if you have a type of fabric that's going to unravel, it's less likely to do it if you cut them like this. All right, so to assemble, I am going to put an X and then one right down the middle. I'm going to put the prints in the back and the smaller ribbon on top. I'm going to kind of squish it and pinch it together in the middle. You want to do this in a way that your printed ribbon does not flip over, unless you happen to have a ribbon that is printed on both sides. But you can't get them like that at Dollar Tree, not anywhere where I am anyway. But this is how this little ribbon stack is going to look. And then you can get jute if you want to. Tie that together and then tie it around the middle of that little pruffle bundle. See, you can just tie that around the back, just in case you don't have, again, zip ties or pipe cleaners around. You can use this. Just going to double knot it, and then you can trim it off. Or my preferred method, of course, is to use pieces of pipe cleaner to attach these down. Excuse me. Okay, so The pipe cleaners that we're going to be using are the regular size pipe cleaners, and we'll just be cutting those in half. That's all you're going to need. And then we're going to go down one side and then back up the other side. And it's going to look like this. See, it's already so nice and full. We're going to just turn those points down, and sometimes they'll try to close up like that, but that's okay. You can leave it like that. Still gives a lot of dimension, and it just looks cute to me. And I already like the way this looks with that orange and the black and white. Very classic, very nice look. And the color scheme is going to be great with that cat, I do believe. Use any color combinations you like though, and you can certainly use, there's a skeleton pick that's in the same sort of theme as the cat, and there's also a pumpkin. So you can use whichever one you want, and just use whatever colors you like. I'm going to sit it on top, pull those pipe cleaners around that pole down the middle, and do not pull these tightly. Pull it where it is just sitting, or it appears to be kind of floating on top of your ribbon bundles. You do not want to crush your cruffles and push down on your wreath. You don't want to do that. It doesn't take a lot, and then if you need to make it a little tighter, you can tighten it up just a little bit, because you don't also want it to slide around on your wreath. You don't want that to happen, or your swag. But you can see I still have a little movement there, so if I wanted to put the little cat face off to the side, you know, kind of sideways or whatever, slanted, I could do it that way. And this is how it's going to look so far. If you wanted to stop at this point, you can. So I decided to pull out some of these pumpkins I had left over from fall, and I'm going to use these black glittery ornaments from Dollar Tree, and then one of these with the spider web on it. These come off the pick very easily. I'm going to put the spider web one right in the bottom. No need to keep that little cap on the top, because if you glue it, it can still pop off of the cap. So I'm just going to glue the ornament itself down into each of those little bundles. And I'm going to alternate all the way around. Go ahead and put yours in place if you want to, so you get an idea of what's going to go where. Just part of planning, just part of prepping. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I like to do it this way sometimes, just to give me a better idea of the direction I'm going in. I don't want that little hanging part to be up top, so just be sure that you tuck that under, and I also don't want a seam in the front. I do not like that. So I kind of put it toward the bottom or off to the side, and you see the pumpkin, I'm going to put it where you can't necessarily see that hole in the bottom, so it's kind of slanted and then nestled down in there so that you don't see it. And then we'll continue all the way around until everything is glued into place. Subscribing to the channel is another great way to support me and the channel, and it tells YouTube that I'm doing a good job. Okay, so now once you have all those down, we're going to work on a bow. So we're going to make a 9-inch loop in this ribbon. So just fold, fold, fold until we have 2 loops on each side, and you can just turn it sideways and look down in the ribbon, and you can see 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to cut the excess off because this is all of this beautiful ribbon that I have left. And I'm going to make a bow, and I would like to have tails on the ribbon. But I'm going to show you something unique you can do for your ribbon tails if you're running out of ribbon but you still really want a bow. Now, for those of you who do not like bows or don't want to put a bow, just leave it off. You certainly don't have to put it on there. You could put another cruffle right on the top if you wanted to. This one's going to be 8 inches, so this will be a little bit smaller than the black and white. And I'm going to fold this over so that I have 3 loops on one side and 2 on the other. This is going to have 5 loops in it. And I do have a bow maker that I made, but I'm just trying to show y'all in case you don't have the supplies to make one, or you don't want to make one, that you can do bows, beautiful bows, without having to have any special tools. So then I'm going to go under here, cut this. We'll stack the smaller ribbon on top. I'll take a zip tie, or you can use a pipe cleaner or floral wire or a bread tie, whatever you have. I am only going to pull this until I get it slightly cinched in the middle, okay? I'm going to turn it over and make sure that the pleat in the front is exactly how I want it. And that's pretty easy to do because it wants to pleat on its own, right? But I don't want my ribbon flipped over to the point where I can't fluff it out. So I'll cinch it down, cut off this back. I also will be feeding a piece of wire through the back of the bow to attach it down to the swag. So before you tighten down your zip tie or your pipe cleaner that you're using, be sure you put an extra piece back there so you have something to attach to your form. Alright, so the bow in the back is almost going to make an X, and the one in the front is almost going to be like the shape of a flower. Pull each of those from the inside. Trying to get it in. I know it's in there. There it is. Okay. And then we'll fluff them out. You can make these a little flatter. You can make them a little higher. The little ends that are left up, that come from the inside in that last piece that we cut, you can cut them very high so they're not in there, or to make a fuller bow and a little more interest, you can cut those at a dovetail and use them as part of your bow. Okay, so we've got this one piece, but we need two tails, right? We're going to fold it in half. This is a very thin ribbon, and my scissors are sharp. So I'm just going to go on the inside, make a few snips, and then I can slide my scissors and take that into two pieces. I'm also going to cut off the metal edging, which you can use on other projects if you need to. You can use this to attach bows down, or to assemble things, because it's a piece of wire. So you could certainly save it, put it in your little bucket. Now we have these two pieces. I'm going to cut them in a slant. What are we going to do with these two pieces? Well, we're going to layer them on top of another ribbon. So we're going to grab that orange and we're going to cut that into section. It's going to be the same, pretty much the same length as the colored ribbon that's going to sit right on top. That's going to be a nice fit. That's going to work. Now I've got a school glue stick, and I'm going to put it right down the middle. Using this Elmer stick is very helpful because I can see exactly where I'm putting that little stripe of color. Now at first I thought, okay, I'll do this and this will be perfectly fine. Then I got to thinking, what if it doesn't hold? And the purple does fade, so there's no concern about that. So then I turned it over and I added a little bit of clear Elmer's glue to the back of it and allowed it to dry. Once it is dry, it makes it a little more sheer, but mine's not completely dry yet. I'm going to stack them on top of each other, fold them over. I'm going to squish them together, and that wire that I threaded through there, I'm going to wrap it very tightly around those tails to make it look like it's one piece. Always squish up your little bow. You always do that, so be sure you are constantly fluffing that bow. I'm going to feed it through and around that pole that's in the back, about 3 inches down, but I'll show you all that, toward the end of this project. And I'm going to make sure I have it exactly where I want it and fluff it. I'm going to use the remainder of that wire that I used to attach it as a hanger, and I'll show you that, later, like I said. Okay, now you can decide what to do with your edges. Once you put that glue on there, it's going to make it kind of stiff, which is great. You can cut it into shorter tails, you can curl it, you can kind of give it a little wrinkle and attach it down to anything that you have on your wreath. Look at that! I love it. Okay, so now these little clippy spider pins will go right on the top of those pumpkins on the stems perfectly. And I love that. And it brings in that little spiderweb ball there at the bottom that you see. I think it looks really cute. And yes, it is a mishmash of all kinds of stuff. You can see how I made the little hanger. I just twisted it back on itself with a loop. You can't see it there because, I got my little clips out of order, but you get the idea. What do you think about him? Very festive. I would love, love, love for you to join us, be part of this wonderful community of YouTube crafters who like to do it on a budget. The next project is a candy corn hat. All right, I got 2 pieces of foam that, you know, you can use a pool noodle. I've got a candy corn pick. You don't have to use candy corn if you're done with candy corn. And I got some of these little pomegranate picks. This I recently got from my friend Miss Linda. Love this, love it, love it. Wait till you see what we do. This is a Temu pick. You can spray paint just a regular pick. These are from Walmart. I used them on my Halloween tree. They're dahlias. And then there are some with little roses, I think, that have a little glitter on them. This is from Temu, from a banner pack. Love the little vintage look. Yes. We're going to use a round from Dollar Tree. It does not matter which one. And I thrifted this candy corn hat. But you can use any which hat you want to use for this. You can see here the measurements of this hat, just to give you an idea. All right, so this is the thought part of my process. I'm like, what are we going to do here? We're going to cut this bow off for one thing because that's going to be hidden, so we may as well remove it. That will go into a scrap pile somewhere. Yes, it will. Okay. I love the shape of it. It's going to need something to give it some body though, so that it stays up nice and taut. Well, I've got some batting that I recently thrifted. And this is thanks to my friend Cindy, who already had it in her basket and decided not to get it. So she asked me did I want it, and I grabbed it, and this is perfect for this. So this is actually like a quilt batting, but you can use this like pillow stuffing. Just shred it up. Just shred it. It's pretty much the same thing, I do believe. And then stuff it into the hat. Now be careful when you're stuffing hats because you want it to keep the natural shape of the hat. You don't want a bunch of lumps and bumps in there because it looks, to me it looks cheap and like you just didn't want to put in the effort. So let's just take the extra effort and let's do it neatly, y'all. You're all capable of it. Yes, you are. I believe in my folks. I believe in y'all. Yes, I do. And I want to say thank you too, while we're on the subject, to all those people who congratulated me on my goals met. I couldn't have done it without you. You know I love y'all. You know that, right? You know you're special and important and valued every day. Yes, I'm always sending positive energy and love and prayers your way. Okay, enough of that. Now, once it is stuffed and the shape is exactly how I like it, this is going to be a base. So that's why I said it doesn't matter which one you choose. And this was actually a little bit smaller than what I needed, but it worked out perfectly. So I'm going to add a good bit of glue, and I'm working quickly so my glue does not dry before I stick it down. And then I'm going to try to center it. Not exactly center, but you're not ever going to notice that. And I'm going to press it down quickly into that glue. And I also will press it away from the inside outward, and then where it is not sticking, I'm going to go in and press that down and away. This is just a felt hat. I know y'all can get this kind of stuff. This may have come with a costume and somebody donated it. I really don't know, but I love it. And I still love candy corn, y'all. There's just something that screams fall and Halloween and candy corn. I don't know. Maybe it's my age. So you can use a pool noodle or a thin piece of, I don't even know what you would use. This actually came out of the middle of some prints that I got from Temu. That's where it came from. But I'm going to use this to go around to make something to put our florals in. So I've just cut a piece of, I have 2 pieces of the foam. I have cut a piece of floral scraps that I had to make the little wire to go in the middle. That's just to help it keep its shape. And then I'm going to add some tape around the joints so that nothing comes apart. Okay, and to continue that shape around, because I want it to be round like a hat band, I'm going to go back in with the wire, put that there. It helps hold it too while I'm putting on my tape. I'm going to line those ends up so I get a nice round shape, and then I'll go over it with the tape. Now I'm going to use as much tape as I need, but try not to go out too far. This is painter's tape, by the way. I'm going to try not to go out too far because I don't want it to interfere with where I might need to place my florals, and you'll see what I mean shortly. So now my hat band is going to fit. I'll take some of my mounting tape, or you can call it nano tape, or you can call it whatever you want to call it, alien tape. It's like a gel type tape that's sticky on both sides. And I'm going to use this to stick down this to my hat so nothing comes loose. You do not want to use hot glue because hot glue will melt and deform the little, it's almost like a little wreath form that you're making. So you don't want that to happen. But you can use super glue or E6000, but you'll have to wait for it to dry first. This is a really quick way to do it. And you know, I'm trying to get with as many crafts as I do for y'all in a week. I make at least 6 crafts a week to show, so I need to get this done quickly for y'all. I do not ever want to disappoint by not showing up, right? Okay, so once that is done, I'm going to take this beautiful curly orangey ombre raffia, and I'm going to separate it into 3 sections because we're going to make a braid to go around, so like a braided hat band. I'm just using my pliers to hold it in place, but you can tape it to the table or clamp it to your table, and you're just going to do a braid. If you don't know how to do a braid, I'm going to do this slowly so you can get an idea. I braid all the time, not necessarily in crafting, but you know, I've braided my daughter's hair, my oldest daughter's hair. I used to do it a lot more often when she was in nursing school, but now that she is a big girl nurse, she wears it in a bun most of the time. You know, you got to keep it clean, got to keep everything nice and fresh. So I'm going to continue along here and braid this as far down as I can until it meets back around to where I started. We're going to trim up all those little wild hairs, so don't worry about that. Now I'm just going to use a zip tie, but you can use a wire, whatever else you want to use to end the braid. I'm going to do that tightly, trim it off. And then we're going to leave the end on there. We're going to leave that curly stuff hanging off there. I like it. I think it's cute and festive. We're going to use floral pins to attach this down to this foam ring around the middle. Just press it right into there, and that's going to hold that braid into place because, again, hot glue is going to melt our little wreath form that we created. So we don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want the mess of it. I don't want to destroy what I've done so far. But if that's what you want to do, just be sure you take your time and you wait in between for everything to dry, okay? So if you've got a few days to do this, then by all means, do it that way. You could probably use long straight pins, hat pins for this if you wanted to. I'm going to go all the way around and leave all of these little curly curlies on the back. I'll grab my scissors and trim off the crazy ones. You're really not going to see them that much though once we start putting down the greenery, our leaves and our flowers and such. How cute. I love the movement. Love it. Now I'm going to be assembling this while it is sitting down on my table, so you're going to see it from above, but in between I'm going to show you each of the things that I have done, you know, basically, and you'll be able to see what's going on. So I'm measuring to see how tall I need this to be because I want this to be a little pick or sign to go on this hat. I'm going to cut it at a slant just because a slant will pierce into the foam a lot easier. Do it your way though. I'll take a piece of black paper and I'm going to cut that down so that there's almost a border or it's offset. Do you see what I mean? Really highlights the picture. I really like that, almost like a frame. I'll go down the middle with 2 stripes of hot glue, or you can do a little squiggle, whatever you like, just to get my pick in place, and I'll put it down and then roll it slightly so it covers the entire piece of wood pick. And then I'm going to just quickly add a little bit of glue here and sandwich that stick right in between. So the backing acts as a cover for that stick, and it also gives us a beautiful trim and finish. You can round your edges off if you would like to do that as well, since the picture there also has rounded edges. Is that not the cutest little kid? I think that's a little boy, and he is just precious. So I am just going to start by adding the black pick in. This has a very sharp wire in it, and I did cut it, so it will pierce through the tape very easily. But the thicker pieces are not going to want to go through the tape as smoothly as this does. Once I get the right placement for it, I can start adding in my beautiful dahlias. And I'm going to use the orange dahlias rather than the black. and I have them cut in 3 different lengths. So they'll be tall, medium, and short. And I'll do the tallest, then I'll put the medium beside it in the back, and I will cut the shortest one and put it right here in the front. Doing things in 3s is a good rule. Behind that pick, I'm going to put a tall dahlia. Here's the look so far. I'll cut the pomegranate into little pieces where they're on each stem, and I will add those here and there as well. Have them peeking out. I love that they're orange and yellow. I think it looks good with the candy corn theme. Now, let's talk while we decorate. What if you have a black hat and that's all you have? Well, then go ahead and go with that. Use your black hat. What can you do that's black? Maybe you could add some beautiful purple flowers. Maybe your hat is gray and you want to do red. You know, whatever you choose, just roll with it. Make it your own. Always make it your own. Now, you know I couldn't pass up putting a beautiful sunflower in here. And besides, candy corn theme, we got to have yellow and orange and white. And then, of course, we got to have black because it's Halloween. Look at this so far, y'all. So cute. This is so cute. This would be so nice as a party. You know, if you had a party to put on your table, I think this is just adorable. You could definitely use, and I've never done this before, y'all. Never. Never. But I was inspired. I was inspired by this little banner piece and by this hat. This would be gorgeous just as a centerpiece on your table or at the end of your bar, you know, just for you. Heck, put it in your room, put it on your side table, whatever. You do you, right? What do we say? You do you, boo. Now, the leaves that I'm picking are scraps. All of the leaves and greenery that I'm putting in there, except for the black ones that we add in the end, all of those are scraps that I have had left from fall, and I save all that stuff. I have these pieces, and they're a little sort of a cream sort of color, maybe like a little faded color, but they look great with the yellow. It helps offset the orange, break it up just a bit. So I'm just going to add pieces here and there. Some of the little pieces have little berries and some do not. And I really just want to make sure that I cover up my piece there. If you are concerned and you're using, say you're using the black hat and you have your white ring around it, well, paint it black. Paint that black, it'll blend in better and you won't know if there's a gap in there somewhere, you know? You can really cover it up. Now, I had to add these black leaves to something. I had to add them to something. And these came also from Walmart. No, these were from Dollar Tree. Yes, these were from Dollar Tree. I was going to add them into my swag, but I decided no, it wasn't the look I was going for. So we're adding them in here, and it just makes it look so festive. But again, make it your own, however you like to do it. I'm always doing my best to bring y'all the most budget-friendly versions of what I can bring you. And is everything exactly on a dime budget? It is not. It is not. Okay, cute girl block. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. This is easy. Y'all, this is a beginner craft. This is a piece of scrap wood that my husband had that I sanded. I'm going to use antique wax, and I'm going to use oatmeal chalk paint, a brush, and a chippy brush, some detail scissors, and another piece of that banner that I got from Temu. Okay, I liked the color of this oatmeal with this, so that's why I'm using it. I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to make sure I leave the shadow in there. I don't want to cut that off because I want her to have that dimension. And look at her little kitty. And that adorably vintage jack-o'-lantern pumpkin bucket. I wish I had one of those now. Maybe I should make one. The wheels are turning, y'all. Sometimes just talking to y'all gets me inspired. Okay, so we're going to put her to the side, and we're going to get this block painted. I'm going to go all over the front, the sides, top, bottom, but not the back. No need to paint the back, right? No one's going to see that. This is sort of like a sign. I say block because it's a block of wood, but it's going to be like a freestanding sign. because I sanded it nice and flat. Okay, I'm going to take a finger dauber and some antiquing wax. This is something that I learned from my friend Trish over at Crafting Cousins. Y'all say it's a prayer from a friend. She's healing now after her surgery, and we want her to be well. We want to wish her well on her recovery. There's been some bumps in the road, but y'all please say a special prayer or send some love, some light to her. And I appreciate it greatly. Love her to death. I really do. Okay, so I'm going all around my edges. This just gives it a more defined edge where you don't see the white from the paper. Makes her just kind of pop, and I really like that look. I'll take that chippy brush I mentioned with some antiquing wax. I'm going to tap it pretty well, and it kind of pushes that wax or paint, whatever you're using, up into the bristles. And I like that look. We're going to dirty this thing up, make it look like it's old. And don't worry, if you get too much on here, you can go back and wipe it with a baby wipe or a damp paper towel. Baby wipes are just thicker, and they don't shred when you try to use them. You know, they don't leave all that lint. So that's why I choose baby wipes, for those of you who are wondering why I use the baby wipes. So now this is really going to make those edges pop, is really going to bring those out and make this wood look like it is old, very old. And you got to have that in a vintage piece, just, you know, to me, in my mind. I want to get that other side just a little bit darker. I'm not going all the way into the center because I'm going to be gluing her down, and I don't want that wax to repel the glue and then she peels off. We don't want that to happen. I don't want to use hot glue because it will leave little bumps underneath the picture, and I don't want to do that either. So that's why I'm using this. You can use school glue or Mod Podge for this for sure. I just, like I said, always want to bring out options. Always want to bring you options. And you can find this glue on sale after back to school all the time. Really good deals. I'm going to push her into place, and I'm just going to use my little Cricut tool here to go over and make sure that I get her squished down. Now the glue that's purple is going to fade just like it did on the ribbon, and this way everything comes out nice and clean. I just like to wipe it off, you know, so it doesn't mess anything up. Make a little sticky lump. This is how she's looking so far. See, it'll stand up perfectly. You could put her on a tall tiered tray. You can put her on the fireplace. You can put her on a table. You can give her as a gift for your office mate. Anything. Just to bring some of that shine down, I'm going to go over her with the remainder of what's in that brush. I'm not adding anything because I don't want to muddy the picture. I just want to bring a little bit of that shine down and make the piece look like one piece. And this is how this little beauty's going to look. She's precious. Y'all, she's a ginger. She's so cute. I have a niece who's a ginger, and I absolutely love her. She's so adorable. Oh, my goodness. Look at this little babe. Okay, so here are the 3 vintage pieces that we did today, using affordable options, of course. Now, as I was saying earlier, and I think I got sidetracked about the budget-friendly part, you're still not going to go and find anything in a retail store this size that looks like this for as cheap as I made it. For as cheap that I'm showing you how to make it. You're just not going to find it. Even something like this with a scrap piece of wood, I paid for that banner $3, and there are probably 12 pieces that came with it. So that is so inexpensive. I already had the paints, already had all that here. You know, I already had the greenery for this. It was in my craft stash. I used it on my tree. I already had the Temu pick. I already had the candy corn picks from last year. I thrifted the hat. I mean, you know, these are still, you're not going to go in a store and find a hat like that as cheap as we make it. You're not going to, y'all. You're not going to. Now, if this is out of your budget, I always try to tell you through the steps, you don't have to add this, you don't have to add that. Use your imagination and think of what you can do to make it your own. Thank you to my subscribers, and thank you to my members. I appreciate each and every one of you. You matter to me. I want you to understand your self-worth and believe in yourself. We're going to start off with a light up boo box. I'm going to use some pumpkin chalk paint, black chalk paint, a cutting tool, and some paint brushes, of course. I'm going to use some Mod Podge. I'm just going to use satin today. And then some of these ornaments from Temu, like you saw in another video. Love these. And these are the 3 I chose. And then we're going to choose some fabric that's going to coordinate with our pieces. And I like this one with the polka dots. Okay, so here's the information on the fabric. I got this while thrifting. We're going to lay this out and cut off a piece that is going to fit on the inside. It's going to be a little bigger than the inside. Don't try to cut it in an exact piece. We're going to fix that later. All right, now we can start painting this little box. Now this is a piece that I thrifted. It had a lid with it and no hinges, no screws. It was just like, I guess, a DIY kind of thing. But it looks a little bit like a pumpkin to me, flat on the bottom, or maybe the moon, you know, kind of, I don't know. I thought this would be really cute for Halloween, and so we're going to go with it. I'm just going to paint the inside of this. Don't have to paint the bottom. That's not necessary because the fabric will be there. We're going to go all over the inside with this pumpkin orange chalk paint. You can use any chalk paint you like. I'm only going to use 1 coat because, you know, that's the beauty of chalk paint. Good coverage. Now I'm going to grab a little sponge brush and go around the lip of this piece all the way around. You can choose any colors you like, but I think these are really good for Halloween. And you know, it's pretty simple. It's going to be a pretty simple look. You can do this with a brush if you trust yourself, but because this is flat and I'm barely grabbing any paint to put on there, it keeps it from bleeding over onto the inside of the box. The outside really won't matter because we're going to paint that black as well. You can see where the little hinge spots are where you would put your hinges. I used the top for another project. Okay, so now we're going to do the outside, and I'm just going to put a coat of that black paint. I believe that's rich black. It doesn't really matter. Just black will work. And if you don't have chalk paint, you can go to Dollar Tree and get some of the chalkboard paint. I've had very good results from that. So we're going to let it dry, and then I'm going to go all over the inside with a layer of Mod Podge. Going to make it a nice even layer. And then I'm going to put that fabric on top and press it into this little piece. I'm going to tuck it all around, just pushing with my fingers up against the corner where the walls meet the back. All the way around. Just tucking, tucking, tucking. And then I'll get a little squeegee and flatten this all out. Make sure that I am getting it as close as possible up there because it's going to give us a nice clean finish between the painted surface and the fabric that we are putting on here. If you don't have a decoupage medium like the Mod Podge that I'm using, you can use school glue for this. Any way that you want to attach this down to the back that works for you in the past, you can use that technique here. Just because I do it this way does not mean you have to. Remember, I always encourage you to make it your own on this channel. Now once I get that layer down, I'm not even going to let it dry. I'm going to go right back in there with a brush. Make sure all of my pieces up into the corner are even pressed down. The idea is to not only keep this in place, but to make the edges of this where it meets the sides of the box in the back thick enough that it's going to be easy to slice through. So we're going to make it, actually change it till it's almost like a papery type consistency of the fabric. If you've ever done decoupaging before, you'll know what I mean. You'll understand what I mean by that. But just trust the process. And you're going to go all the way around with a nice even coat. And that's what I'm doing. Just making sure everything's nice and even. And allow that to dry. I just let mine dry overnight while I went on to other things. Now I'm going to put that blade right into the corner where the back meets the sides, all the way around, and then you can just pull that off. And you can see that the texture of the fabric is more, it's more thick. And look what a nice edge that gives. Love that. Love that. So now I've just got, I had a bag of these little letters, and I'm going to take these Scrabble letters and I'm going to make some words to use. So you can use any Halloween words that you like. You can do spooky or Halloween or Hallows Eve, whatever you want to use. Now what you see me doing here is showing the difference between the dimensions when you add some type of a riser behind it. It could be a foam block, it could be the little blocks from Dollar Tree. You can see the shadow around it, and that's what I'm going for. I want these to be a little different and a little varied. These are just things that make your pieces stand out and be a little different. So I thought about putting Halloween on the inside, and they would just be up against the surface, you know, tucked up against the wall here in the back. But I think I want to do it here. So I'll start with the center letter in the word Halloween, and that's going to be the O, and I'll center it on the top of the box just by eyeballing it, because you know I'm not doing the numbers over here. No measuring for me. These are handcrafted things. I'm not going to be precise, right? So, you know, keep tacking it down, and I'll just work from middle outward. If you like what's going on this channel right now, I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I'm working on a goal, speaking of Halloween, of 100,000 subscribers by Halloween. I would love it if you would be part of our family and part of that number. But only do it if you like what's going on over here, right? That's right. Make it worth your while. So I'll just continue to work around until I get these all the same. Now I'll use my finger on the back of these tiles to get them about the same height going all the way around so that they look, you know, fairly even. And I love that. It looks like a little stage for a play, doesn't it? I think that's really cute. Now you can go along the back here and add a little more glue if you would like, this to make sure that they're a little more secure because they're only stuck down by that little bit that we put on the back. So that will work here, or you could use some type of a super glue if you want to do it that way. I think that's cute. Now this is just a block that I have. Pick all this kind of stuff up when I see it in the thrift store, but these actually came originally from Target and I got them at a store called Dirt Cheap. So they were probably 50 cents. Now I'm going to add these on here. This is going to give us some dimension, and the one in the center is actually going to be the place where we house the light control, because yes, we're going to have lights in here, y'all. I have had lots of happy comments from people saying they love the light up projects, so we're going to be doing another one here. It's just playful, right? It's playful. It gives some dimension. It just gives a little more, keeps it from being so flat. You know, it's unexpected. But you don't have to put lights in yours. Just use mine for inspiration, because you might not even have the box that I have. You can use a square box for this. You can use a Dollar Tree frame for this. You know, it's fine. You can do this any way that you like it. Just grab the inspiration that I'm putting out there for you and make something that's going to bring you some joy. Now this beaded garland came from Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using this in here. I'm thinking, do we use it on the outside of the box, which would be super cute, or we could use it on the inside of the box. So I'm just, you know, I'm going to be giving you a bunch of ideas here. I think I like it on the inside. So I'm going to cut off my tassel, and I can actually use the tassel for something else. I will retie the knot on the end so that nothing comes off, because otherwise beads are going to go flying all over the place. And it's easier to apply these in a strand on a rope like this than it would be to do bead by bead. You're saving yourself some time and energy. So a little extra glue on there to hold the knot in place and make sure everything is secure. And then we can start putting that down. Just cutting off my excess. We want it to look neat, right? And then I will check and see that I have the right amount in here. And then I will cut that off. I cut it close to the table so the beads that fall off will just fall onto the table. And mine stayed together, surprise, surprise. So I'll tie another knot here. And if you can't tie a knot that small, it's fine. Just use glue. Just use the glue and hold it in place. I put my knot, tuck it in there, add some glue. Now I have a short strand that's going to fit perfectly around the edges. Now, for the lights, I'm going to take this string of fairy lights that I have, and I'm going to wrap them around and around this strand of beads. I'm just going to go round and around, and it is so long, this strand, that it actually goes around here twice. So I really got a lot. For a strand of fairy lights, I got a lot of lights, a lot of coverage. And by the way, I am very happy to say that I'm now a Temu affiliate. Yes. So, they heard, y'all. They heard. They heard everybody saying, I ought to be working with Temu for as much money as I spend over there. And you're exactly right. And now I am. So there you go. That simply means that if you were to order anything using my affiliate link, which will be in the description box below, that I'll get a small amount of commission from that, but it's not going to cost you anything additional. So it'll just help me out if you're looking for a way to help my channel and you want to use any of the products that you see me use. And you know, I use thrifted items, I use Dollar Tree items, I use all that. So I've glued the little light box on the back and it's behind the head. It fits perfectly. We're going to be able to hide it because we're going to paint it black. This is how that's going to look. A strand of lights does have 2 different flashing modes and then a solid mode, but I rarely use the flash. And then a little bit of hot glue to glue it down. Then I decided, okay, well, what about putting some more of this tree on there? Now, this is a Dollar Tree Halloween tree. All I'm doing is cutting this off to make it more like a garland. You can form this together to make almost like a little halo and then put it down in there, or you can just glue the pieces down. You know, sometimes I feel like I'd be doing too much. But it just shows you that there are so many different ways to do it, right? This is going to help cover up that gray on there. You can still see the beads for those of you who are concerned. If you don't want to use the beads, don't use the beads. Use garland and just wrap your lights around there or layer them however you like it. Now I'm grabbing that black chalk paint and I'm going over the light box that is on the back behind that little ornament. You know, think about those Scrabble pieces, and you could actually take a little bit of orange paint, water it down, and make a stain for those if you wanted something a little more colorful instead of using the plain brown Scrabble pieces. But I like that. I don't have a problem with that. So, you know, I prefer things that are rustic anyway, so this works for me. But you do what your heart desires. Now we're going to find placements for our little girls or our little girl and boy or whatever, our little trick-or-treaters. They're cute, they're in their little costumes, they're all little pumpkins in here. So I'm just going to add my glue in my different heights on the backs of these little babies. Aren't they adorable? Press those into place, kind of at a little bit of an angle. They're not straight up and down. I'm going to check it out and see what else we need to do on this piece. So I'm going to grab some ornaments. I am recycling some of these from other projects. You can get these little ornaments from Dollar Tree if you are looking for some. You could also use table scatter from Dollar Tree if you can find something in the colors that you're looking for. You could definitely do that. And I'm pretty sure at Halloween, I haven't been to the store this year, but I'm pretty sure at Halloween they have sort of color coordinated to the holidays or the seasons. So you can find something that you like. And I'm just, right now, I'll add the ornaments down and then I'll look at where else do I want to put these? How else do I want to build this up on the bottom? Almost like they're little balloons, you know, kind of like in the other set that I did with these ornaments. It's another video. I'll link that for you. I used them like balloons and I think that's so cute. It's just another way to use your pieces, because sometimes we buy things and we never use it because we can't think of how we could use it, but we have it available. Grab that stuff and use it. Look, I've got this little thing of pom-poms with little, kind of like little sparkles on it, and I thought, well, let's add that. We've got yellow in here, so let's just add some of that and really make this look playful. Y'all, check out the description box below for the information on the Crafty Cruise Getaway. You hear me talk about it in every video. And I do that because this is a business for me that I am very passionate about. The fun that we have, the things that we learn. It's a community of people that are so loving and creative and giving. If you need a vacation, like I need a vacation, please consider joining us. I would love to meet you, get to put a face with the names that support me all the time. All right, so now I'm just adding a little bit here and there, just kind of bringing the design up. And I decided I'm going to add Boo right on the inside. So maybe they're at the party, and this is a little banner that's hanging on the wall. How cute. So now I've got Boo in there. But you could do spooky or scary or whatever Halloween words you can think of that makes you happy or that kind of fits your scenery. I love this. Oh, and I love bringing it to you. I love showing y'all something new and different. Look how precious. I hope y'all love this as much as I do because I really, really love this piece. I couldn't wait to bring it to y'all. And here it is lit up. Now, if I didn't have the tinsel in there or the little branches in there, it would be brighter, but I love the look at this. It reminds me of the little garland that I don't know the exact word for it, but it's the paper kind of garland that they used to use. I love that it looks like that. Nice. Come see my videos on Mondays and Thursdays at 6. I'll see you in the comments. The next is going to be our friend's Halloween wreath. Okay, so this is from Temu. This is a little metal sign. This is a contribution that I'm making for all my thick-thighed sisters, because I know I sure am. Here's the information. I am going to recycle a wreath. This is like a viney type wreath, but you can use any type of wreath that you like that is going to be the size you want. This flower has very similar colors, so I'm going to use it. And then this is some greenery I got on clearance last year at Joann. The colors in this are beautiful, and I think they're going to look great in this wreath. Okay, so we got 2 holes at the top. We could actually hang that if we wanted to. Look how soft this wreath is. Really easy to form. You squish it around. There are a lot of wreaths that you can do that way, so don't be discouraged if you get a wonky wreath. In order to put this down, I decided I wanted to make it more stable. So I'm just taking some, yes, they're coffee stir sticks, and I'm going to cut them in half, add some glue, and shove them in there so it looks almost like a target, right? It is right in the center inside of that wreath. I'll let that dry, and this is going to be the platform that we use to attach this metal wreath. I'm going to use a lot of glue here because y'all keep in mind that it is metal notoriously will pop off hot glue. And then I've got scraps of paper. You can see I've already got some paint on the back. I'm not worried about that. It is just a little bit of paint. No one's going to see it. And I also encourage you, if you're going to do this and you want to hang this on a glass door, like a storm door or something, that you put some black felt on there and cover that all up, okay? Now, here are some pieces that I have cut away. And they are on wire, and they're very good quality. Even the fern, the plastic part or the decorative part twists on the wire that's under it, so you could face it in the right direction. Beautiful quality. They might not have it this year because, you know, stores change things up, but you can get pieces at Dollar Tree. Whatever you like that's going to coordinate with what you have going on is going to be okay. All right, y'all, so this is a vintage looking kind of pumpkin and whatever. I wanted to put a little rustic flair with it, and I could not be more pleased with the way that this wreath turned out. I love this wreath. It is so cute. Those girls up there, those sisters up there, oh my goodness, I love that. I'm going to call them sisters because I could just, you know, they're soul sisters, let's put it that way. I'm just going to go around with everything facing in the right direction. You can go in the other direction if you want to, but just make sure everything goes the same way. It's going to give you a nice, smooth, easy to look at, easy to assemble wreath. Now, you add some glue into yours. I'm not adding the glue because I recycle so much of my projects, but you need to add glue before you tuck these pieces down. Now, all I'm doing is going down about 3 inches from the last piece that I put down to get my spacing pretty even. I'm going to go back to my original spot and put this in because I want a spot right here to put the flower. I'm going to pull off my greenery because I do want to use a little of that. You know, I always try to put that in there. I'll cut the top of that flower off. And then I'm going to push it straight down into that wreath form. It goes in there so easy. Just like butter. All right, now I'm going to tuck in some of that green. Don't you think that the colors in this greenery looks so complementary to what is going on in that metal sign? I think that is super cute. So tell me right now, y'all, while I do this, are y'all working on your fall right now? Are you working on some Halloween? Are you doing some Christmas in July? I'm getting a lot of variations on the views on my videos. A lot of people are still looking at my Halloween, they're still looking at fall, and they are looking at Christmas in July. So I'm just curious, for the ones of you who comment and talk below in the chats, like to comment with me down there. Where are you at right now with your crafting? What are you doing? All right, I'm overlapping my ferns here. I'm kind of overlapping them. I'm flexing the wire so that they lift up a little bit and have a little bit of body and movement. I'm going around and making sure everything's even. This is part of the fluffing out process. And I'm going to go in and add little pieces of the extra fern that I had to just fill in where I feel like I could use a little more. These were what were left on the pieces when I cut them off. Such full and beautiful pieces. I think when I got these, they were like 75% off last year, maybe even 90% off. I was very surprised when I found them, and all I found was 2 picks of them. So I wish I had a lot more because these would be in baskets on my porch. They are beautiful. And keep tucking and keep just, you know, filling in. Look at it from a distance, look at it from above. Y'all, I can't get my camera very much further off the table. And I know that some people say I need to get way away, you know, all those people who are so good at working while they're filming. I'm not the one. Not the one, y'all. So I ask for your patience with me. I'm always going to show you the end result. See there? See. I love this. I love that I put my own rustic spin on this beautiful classic Halloween piece. And I hope that you like it too. How fun. Look at those colors. Look at those ladies in there with their costumes. And that pumpkin with his green eyes. You know, you just have some of those pieces that you do that just make you smile. Just keep you smiling all the time. And honey, this is the one for me. Most Halloween stuff does that for me, though. I love it. It's so fun. So fun and festive and colorful. A mini cupcake arrangement is going to be next. I struggled with the name, y'all. So this is a little cupcake, whatever, paper. You actually set your other cupcake when it's baked down in there. Baking cups from Dollar Tree. I got these last year. Very cute. I'm going to use a foam ball. And it is going to fit right on the inside. That's what it's for. I've got, these are Dollar Tree pins. My daughter made this out of a garland kit. These are some rings, and I think these are probably Dollar General, judging by that yellow square. These came from a store called Dirt Cheap, but they originally came from Target. You can see the red there. This is what those little brooms look like. We got a variety. I love it. And then some creepy cloth. And some leaves, whatever color leaves you like. You can use a pick instead if you don't have any loose leaves. And then these are branches that I got from Temu. You can get a branch from the yard if you're going to do it the way I do it. This is my mounting tape that I use all the time. I'm going to cut off a section of it, remove that backing, place it in the bottom. And y'all, I use this a lot with things that could melt with a glue gun, like foam. So if you're using a foam piece, you don't want it to melt with your hot glue, you can use this. And I want to show you how stable this is. Look at this. You cannot get that out of there. It's not coming out unless you just really work to pull it out. Now I'm going to cut a piece of this cloth. You could use moss if you wanted to here, but I like this dark, dark gray color. I don't know if it's given black, but it is a dark gray. And I'm going to use that on the bottom to cover up the ball and tuck it in around the edges. This is just going to be like a base, just to cover up that foam ball down there and to give it a little spooky, dark base. Okay, so far so good. Now the idea is not have this looking like a cupcake. That's not the idea. So y'all just watch and roll with me, okay? Now this particular branch that you can get from Dollar Tree is kind of flat, and you can cut the pieces apart. I'm going to use my wire cutter and I'm going to cut several pieces off. I'll take the thickest branch and I want that to be my tree base. So you can give your tree some dimension by turning your leaves in different directions. So that instead of being flat and everything flat glued down, you can start adding dimension by putting those leaves in different directions. See there? The difference that makes? I like the look of this, and I like the idea of doing this by hand because it's unique. Because when you do it by hand, it makes it different. I love that, and I love the colors in there. But if you don't want to go through the trouble of doing this, if it's trouble for you, then just get a pick and cut it into pieces. I'm using what I have, y'all, right? Using what I have, making it my own. So here we go. This is our tree in the center, and this is our start. I know that I want to put this bat that my baby made me, and I'm going to decide how do I want this bat to be positioned in here. I like it a little bit off to the side and down just a little bit, almost like it's stepping down. I'm showing you that my seam is in the back. Always put those seams in the back, y'all. I'm going to take a thin craft stick and I'm going to paint it with a furniture repair marker. You can use paint if you want to, but these dry super fast. And I needed to make it dark so it would blend in a little. Once I find my position, I'll take a little bit of glue and I'm going to glue this down. I'm kind of smearing that glue because I don't want to melt this piece of, it's like a foamy type material. I'm not sure what you would call it. I'm going to cut it until I get it at a point. And you could shove it in there without cutting it at a point, but it cuts through and it seems to work better for me without displacing my fabric that I have down there. So there's my bat. I'm happy with the bat. And then I'm going to use some of the black spider rings. They cut off very easy. You can get packs of spiders at Dollar Tree, by the way. Again, I'm using what I have. And we're going to start putting down those black spiders anywhere you want to on your tree, on the base. You know, obviously I'm not going to have any hanging off the bat, but you know, you do you. And just put these here and there just to make it, give it that little bit of an extra spooky yet still playful look. So I'm happy with a couple on there. I'm going to add some more of these branches. If you want to add more leaves, you can do that. This is just to kind of fill this out a little bit and keep it from looking, you know, like a flat piece. Of course, if you want it one-sided where you can put it against a wall or on a shelf that is thin, make it that way. You can certainly use this technique and just make it that way. Just a few more leaves on those little branches to give it a little more oomph. Oh, and so far so good. Yes, I'm loving it. I love the color of the orange, yellow, and red tipped leaves, making me very happy. This is just a little wood piece that I have with a pumpkin and a cat, or a jack-o'-lantern and a cat. Just gonna poke him down in the front. Probably could have painted that pumpkin to make it, you know, blend a little bit better, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna leave him like he is. We don't have to change everything. All right, so I know I need to add one more thing. I put the witch's broom down there. I need to add something right here and, well, maybe in the back. We'll see. Look, candy corn. This came off of one of those. It was either a $3 or $5 piece from Dollar Tree last year. It's like a banner or a garland. And I'm just going to use one of the pieces. I'm going to take another one of those sticks. Trim it down so that it's pretty short, but enough to go down into that styrofoam. And I'll add that right down underneath. Oh yeah, I like that. But we're still going to add a little something on the back, of course. I always pick my pieces up. I'm going to look at them from all angles. I'm going to lay it down. I gotta use them, right? I mean, who can't? This is gonna be the mother spider. I'm gonna cut a piece of this off, add a little glue right where that clamp was. You can save that clamp and use it on another project. And now I can take Mama Spider, put her right in the back. And then her babies are climbing all around over there. And she's kind of overhanging on the side like she's getting ready to climb up that tree and tell her babies to get down from there. You know how we have to do, y'all. You know. Yeah, that's pretty good. This is a great way to use remnants and scraps to make something really cute. I like the idea of using a cupcake container to make the pieces. You can use cups, you can use boxes, you can really use just about anything as a container for a small arrangement that you could give as a gift or pretty much do anything with. Y'all look right here at this rectangle and subscribe for more. Thanks. Bye.